What's up, brother Miles and CMF? Below, good to see how you doing, brother. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Free and Feather, good evening. Miles and CMF, good to see you as well. How you doing? Joe, good to see you as well. Evening. How you doing? How you been? XRP news today? Yes, we do. We have quite a bit of XRP news to go through on tonight's live show. And we're going to leave the best news for the last part. But obviously, in general, on tonight's live show, we have a lot of news to go through. Some perspective news, some data news, a lot of interesting news to go through as well. Progress news in terms of cryptocurrencies, how far they've come, how far our Swift, essentially CBDCs came and so on. So, but the XRP news, we're going to leave it towards the end of the live show. There's about 4 topics to go through regarding XRP towards the end of the live show. Now, let's go back to the conversation first. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, below we have a lot of XRP news to go through. Hello, Miles and CMF. Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? Pablo, good to see you as well. How you doing? Kevin, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Professor Miles and the rest of the class. Let's go, funky brother. How you doing? George, good to see you as well. How you doing? Dale, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good day. What will happen if Ripple paid $125 million fine to SEC in price? Will the $125 million fine affect the price of XRP from Ripple? No, not really. It wouldn't do even a small dent inside the price. But the people, can use it as a sign of panic. Oh no, Ripple's going to drop to be able to sell to pay the fine off and so on. But in reality, it won't even do a dent. Joe, good to see you. So how you doing? Evening. Miles, get your crystal ball out. Let's go, funky brother. What else? Let's go. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. Dennis, good to see you. So how you doing? There's so much adoption happening in XRP. That is true. Even Miles and family. Ian, good to see you. So how you doing? By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting this live show right now on X and liking this live show as well on X. I'm getting some notifications as well. Thanks so much to everyone that's retweeting and liking this live show right now on X at the beginning of the live show, because it brings a lot more audience to the CMF as well when you do at the beginning. Also, thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's liking this live show as well. Now, I'll do a gist of what we're going to be talking through on tonight's live show, and then we'll do the intro, disclaimer, and by that time, everyone's tuned in for the first part of the live show. Good evening, brother. What else? Let's go, brother. So, on tonight's live show, we're going to be covering some major news on tonight's live show. We're going to be talking about first regarding Bitcoin, and then we're going to lead up to the XRP news because the XRP news is quite major, but we're going to start with the Bitcoin news first. So we're going to be talking about Bitcoin on tonight's live show regarding Bitcoin will break records regardless of the US elections is what's happening. Essentially, this is a perspective from Grayscale's analysts. They've came out and said no matter what happens in the US election, Bitcoin will still essentially do incredibly well, depending on, it doesn't matter what the result of the US elections is. It's a perspective from Grayscale. We're going to go from tonight's live show. Now, next, we're going to go through news topic regarding an Italian bank. One of the oldest Italian banks have entered the fields of blockchain technology, and they're starting with Bitcoin trading, which is a major news coming out of Italy right now. We're also going to be talking about Kamala Harris on tonight's live show as well. Apparently, there's some rumors going around, some suggestions going around that Kamala Harris is allegedly considering putting SEC Chairman Gary Gensler as a U.S. Treasury Secretary if she wins the election. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show and what the ramifications on that matter could be. We're also going to be talking about Moody's on tonight's live show. Now, if you don't know who Moody's is the same agency that essentially did the ratings back in 2008, and they said the market is doing excellent, and they lied, and then we had that massive crash happening in 2008. Obviously, it wasn't Moody's fault. We had a crash in 2008, but they did lie about the ratings. But however, putting that to one side, Moody's has decided to enter the crypto fields right now. So we're going to be talking about Moody's on tonight's live show as well. Big, it's quite big for Moody's to be entering the fields. We're also going to be talking about Telegram and Ton and Hashkey on tonight's live show as well. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Ton is going to do extremely well due to the user base of Telegram, and Hashkey being one of the most prominent digital asset financial services, one of the most financial services inside the entire world, or you can say in top ranging in Hong Kong, has just entered the fields of Telegram, Ton, and Hashkey is just, we'll go through that news on tonight's live show, which is quite major news for Ton, their ecosystem in general, to boost adoption. We're also going to be talking about on tonight's live show regarding tokenized assets, real world assets, tokenized real world assets. It's come to So tokenized real world assets were considered to be essentially a $9 trillion market space, is what was suggested a while ago. Now it's turning into a essentially $30 trillion market space. And there's a perspective coming from a Polygon executive. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well. But he's also discussed things that are already happening in real world assets around the world that aren't being discussed inside the crypto space. So we're going to go through some data points on real world assets on tonight's live show as well, and how big the market space can become. We're also going to be talking about regarding crypto voters, because apparently some data has came out and a perspective has came out from Skybridge's founder. So Skybridge's founder has once again decided to share his perspectives on the voting systems and how many people will be voting for Kamala, how many people will be voting for Trump, and how big is the voting community inside the United States in terms of crypto voters and how things can play out. So we're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding US institutions redefining money, which is a massive play. US institutions redefining money. That's a massive play. We're going to be talking about tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about Solana ETFs on tonight's live show once again. So we do know for a fact that Solana ETFs were withdrawn. There was a filing done that was also withdrawn. But we have some perspectives from Van Eck executives on that Solana ETFs are still in progress of happening. And we're also going to be talking about tonight's live show, getting to the interesting news, which is towards the end. We're also going to be talking about RackBank. RackBank partners with Bitpanda to launch UAE's next big digital asset platform. Now, that is major news, and I'll tell you why once we get to it for XRP and Ripple. We're also going to be talking about Bitwise and how they're expanding into Europe with $1 billion purchase of ETC Group and 9 crypto ETPs. That's also major news for Ripple and XRP as well. We're also going to be talking about Ripple's CEO discussing how XRP could dominate SWIFT. That's also major news for XRP Ripple as well. And we're also going to be talking about the race for central bank digital currencies, for CBDCs, and how coronavirus was the movement for CBDCs to happen. And this is a perspective coming from Germany's government. Now, this is a perspective that I've always given based on facts, that coronavirus was the reason the world shifted into CBDCs, and everything is coordinated inside of this world to happen on a large scale. And I was the only one saying this and advocating for this, that this is the reason why essentially coronavirus happened, that COVID-19 happened, and CBDCs and so on. And now Germany's government is coming out and giving the exact same perspective that I've been given for a very long time. Since 2023, I've been given this perspective, and in 2024. And they've just repeated my words. The German government has repeated my words on CBDCs were supposed to be is actually set up during COVID-19. The reason why COVID-19 happened was because of CBDCs. And we're also going to be talking about, so basically we're going to talk about the progress on that matter, but we're also going to be talking about the progress in general of CBDCs and how far they've come, because the ECB, essentially the European Central Bank, is holding a workshop for businesses in terms of payment innovations for stablecoins and tokenized deposits and many other things, which is a massive play. They're going to be doing an app. So many businesses and major institutions are going to be coming over regarding this matter and discussing CBDCs, how CBDCs is going to work, how tokenized assets is going to be working, how stablecoins is going to be working. And this is major institutions coming together because of the European Central Bank organizing this. This is the progress that's showing right now. We're in major progress. And I've said this before, 2024 is when the world is shifting into a digital era. I've been saying this for a very long time. I said this in 2023. I said the end of the road is 2023, and essentially the world changing or shifting into a digital era is starting 2024, which again, I'm being repeated by the Central European Bank, who's holding this major event with major institutions attending it to talk about the digital world and how they're going to be doing payments in general. So quite a major news to go for on tonight's show, regarding Ripple news, XRP news, and exchange news, Dubai news, CBDC news, COVID-19 news, and central bank news on tonight's live show as well regarding the European Central Bank. A lot of banks are entering the fields. Even the old Italian, one of the oldest Italian banks is entering the fields on tonight's live show, so we're going to go through it. So quite a bit of news to go through, but we are going to be starting off with the Bitcoin news before we get to the XRP news. We're going to leave the best to last. So The first news we are going to be going through on tonight's live show is regarding Bitcoin essentially will break records regardless of US elections. Now, this is a perspective coming from Grayscale. So before we go through that news, first of all, I'd just like to say welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF live show. On this live show, you can tune in every single night where I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations. These are vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital era. Also, we do live Q&As on this live show as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions you may have. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, and if you're regular, let's go CMF. Now, before we go regarding the first news, which is Bitcoin, regarding Bitcoin breaking records regardless of US elections, a perspective coming from Grayscale, let's go inside the comment section first, and then we go through that. So let's see where we were. Ian, good to see you all evening. How you doing? That's where we were. Yeah, what is the topic? Quite a lot of topics to go through on tonight's live show. No, I mean bullish to the price of XRP when they finally paid the fine. Yeah, that would be extremely bullish. Can it? Yep, it can be in the long run. BTC, ETH, and XRP will be a massive in the bull run. They definitely will be, yes. Hi, Miles, and hi to all the other suspects. JP, how you doing? Good evening, Miles of CMF. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hello, Miles of CMF. I hope that you had a great day. I love my family. Let's go, Scott. Miles, how's your day? How's your parents? And how's business? Business good, parents good, and my day's been excellent. Scott, I'm doing well. Let's go, Scott. I've still got to reply back to your direct message. I haven't forgotten. After this live show, I definitely will do, Scott. Apologies about that. Share the program. I just did. Let's go, Scott. Thank you so much, by the way, to everyone that's sharing, retweeting this live show right now, liking this live show, and so on. Thanks so much to everyone. I'm getting notifications. Deso, how you doing? Hi, Miles. How you doing? Ethereum will do extremely well, as it's most of the stable coins are built on Ethereum blockchain, which is true. Bullish XRP news, let's hear it. Let's get it up towards the end. Greetings, Miles and CMF. Let's go. Brian, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning. Facts, Miles. Let's go, Ian. You're the best brother, Miles. Thank you for making the time to teach us. Let's go, Goddy Clothing. Thank you so much for the kind words. Good morning, everyone. Ghost Runner, good to see you as well. How you doing? We have one awesome family. Facts. Let's go, Scott. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Tanner, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So, first news on tonight's live shows regarding Bitcoin. And then as we progress through the news is just going to get more interesting and better as we go along. Not saying the first ones aren't interesting. They are, definitely are. But towards the end of the live show, it's going to get extremely interesting. No problem, Miles. I understand you're busy. Keep up your efforts. I'm investing, Miles. Let's go, Scott. Thanks so much for understanding, Scott. So, Bitcoin is the first news we're going to go through on tonight's live show before we reach the XRP and Ripple news and CBDC news. Bitcoin will break records regardless of US elections is a perspective coming from Grayscale analysts right now. So Bitcoin is poised to cement its reputation as digital gold. Some analysts say, but the rally could come at a significant cost to the United States economy. A weakening US dollar could be a catalyst for Bitcoin to reach an all-time high. According to Zach Pondle, managing director of research at Grayscale Investments, Pondle sees the US dollar on the verge of significant decline. There are long-term macro trends that will play out regardless of who takes the White House in November, he said, referring to presidential race between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Pondle, a former macroeconomics and the market strategist at Goldman Sachs, believes that the value of the dollar could fall significantly in the next 10 to 20 years, and potentially even sooner depending on the outcome of the election. Now, according to the analyst, this expected decline in the value of the dollar would cause Bitcoin's value to increase against the currency, attracting more investors to Bitcoin. The mechanism behind this potential scenario involves the issuance of a US government debt. For decades, the US has financed its operations through the issuance of its treasury bonds, benefiting from the dollar status as the world reserve currency. This has led to a continued demand for these bonds from countries like Japan and China. However, the traditional debt is currently holding at $33.2 trillion, exceeding the GDP by 123%, which is expected to be around $27 trillion in 2020, which was expected to be in 2023. Now, the analyst said that if the government needed to borrow more to meet the interest payments on existing debts, this could lead to a situation where demand for bonds could not keep up with this issuance. In this case, the US would face two undesirable outcomes: defaulting on its debt or printing more dollars to buy the debt, which would cause an inflationary shock. Bitcoin has become a $1 trillion asset at a time when the dollar is extremely strong. Pandel said, since Bitcoin's supply is limited to 21 million tokens, it is immune to monetary depressions. Unlike the dollar, do you know what will happen to this asset when we have a period where the dollar is constantly losing value? Pandel theoretically hinted that Bitcoin's value could increase. However, not everyone essentially agrees that a massive inflation is inevitable or that Bitcoin should be viewed as a store of value, comparable to traditional safe assets like gold. This skepticism contributes to Bitcoin's controversial status, and setting it apart from other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Bitcoin emerged as a direct response and rejection of traditional financial systems, Pandel said. So a perspective from Grayscale is that no matter who's sitting in that White House room, if it's going to be Trump as the next president or Kamala, a perspective from Grayscale's analyst, head of research of analysts from Grayscale, is that Bitcoin, no matter what, is going to prevail and touch new heights, because it's not depending on who's the next president, it's depending on how strong can the dollar hold this position, which is not that strong, which is a fair point, to be fairly honest. Now, the next news on tonight's live show is regarding one of the oldest banks in Italy. So Italian bank Banco Cello goes all in on Bitcoin trading. Banco Cello, one of Italy's oldest banking institutions, has announced the incorporation of Bitcoin trading into its services. With the creation of this service, Banco Cello now welcomes a wider range of users, including crypto investors and enthusiasts. Cello's Bitcoin trading offering highlights the growing, essentially, interconnections between traditional finance and the crypto ecosystem. Cello offers Bitcoin trading via Hype. According to reports, Banco Cello will offer Bitcoin services on its mobile banking platform Hype. And Banco Cello plans to leverage the platform's expensive user base of over 1.2 million customers to spread its Bitcoin trading services. The service is a beta testing for selected groups of exclusive customers, Hype Plus. However, it will become available to all customers in just a few days. A unique feature of this service is its ease of use and removal of complexities in trading. Users do not need to require an exchange to sell or buy Bitcoin. They can do this directly on the Hype platform via this platform. The Bitcoin trading service from Banco Cello opens so many opportunities for Hype platform users. First, they can leverage the platform to pay for goods and services across stores that allow crypto payments to happen. Additionally, users can send portions of their Bitcoins to contracts in their address book as well. The bank noted that its essentially promotional video that Bitcoin Wallet is free for all users and requires 4 steps to create it. However, the bank has imposed trading constraints on this new service with tight daily and annual sales on purchasing limits. This structure helps users gain a well-balanced Bitcoin trading experience before going full throttle. Customers with the basic Hype Start account can buy and sell Bitcoin worth $2,700 annually. For Plus and Premium account holders, buying and selling rates are approximately $54,000 per year. Banco Cello's Bitcoin moves comes aimed challenges in sending and receiving funds from conventional financial providers in Italy. Firms essentially increasing attention to Bitcoin. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There are more institutions in 2024, more banks, and essentially more regulations in 2024 than ever before. This is when the world is transitioning to a complete digital era. 2024 is when the world starts transitioning to digital era because we have more institutions, more banks, and more regulations in place than ever before in 2024 than previous years. I've been saying this for a while. This might lead many people to seek solutions like Bitcoin to power their transactions. With its recent solution, Banco Cello now stands to benefit from the money that would flow through the Bitcoin market. The adoption of Bitcoin by traditional firms became prominent in 2020, spearheaded by MicroStrategy's decision to accumulate Bitcoin. The firm has since continued to grow its Bitcoin reserves, which now holds approximately 226,331 Bitcoins, valued at almost $15 billion. MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy has influenced other entities to enter the Bitcoin markets. For instance, South Korea's National Pension Scheme entered the Bitcoin market by purchasing a $33.7 million in stake in MicroStrategy. Japan's MetaPlanet is also following the footsteps of MicroStrategy, recently confirming a 500 million yen, which is about $3.4 million, Bitcoin purchase, influence of spot Bitcoin on BTC adoption. Moreover, the launch of spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds, ETFs inside the United States is also fueling an increased adoption for the coin. Despite the decline in Bitcoin's price, the second quarter of 2024, Bitcoin ETF holders have surged by 30%. This trend demonstrates a shift in institutional strategy towards digital assets, pointing to a broader adoption pattern that defies short-term market volatility. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Regarding the adoption rate that's happening from institutions right now, the reason why we're not seeing Bitcoin or majority of assets that are quite a lot of institutions are in play with them. The reason that we don't see these price jumps and actions happening is because the retailer is jumping out on one side and the institutions are kind of picking the pieces up. And while the institutions are doing that, the outflows and inflows are pretty much matching. That's why we don't see some price movements happening. But they're coming in tiptoeing into the markets. That's what the issue is as well. But these are indications of confidence inside the crypto market. And if they show, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, when they go towards Bitcoin, starting with Bitcoin, some of these institutions, it's not just good for Bitcoin, it's showing confidence that they're willing to enter the blockchain space, because they tend to move from Bitcoin slowly into the other digital assets. But they do tend to move towards legitimate assets straight after Bitcoin. So they're going to be going from Bitcoin to Ethereum, for example, to XRP and so on and so on. They're not going to be going from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Pepe's granddad or, Pepe's stepbrother. They're going to be going to in order of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or Solana in some cases as well, is what they're really going for. So it shows great confidence towards the crypto sector. So it's not just positive for Bitcoin, but it's positive in general. Now, the next news to talk about on tonight's live show is Kamala Harris, which is a topic nobody likes. But Kamala Harris is allegedly essentially considering SEC Chairman Gary Gensler as the U.S. Treasury Secretary if she wins the election, is what's spreading around right now. If that is true, then Kamala Harris will lose everyone inside the crypto community as voters. And if you're wondering, are crypto voters even that much of a big margin in terms of voters' power inside the United States? Yes, they actually do hold quite a lot of voting power, because we're going to go through that data on tonight's live show as well. A perspective from Skybridge's co-founder. But yes, US voters in terms of crypto holders are actually quite a lot, staggering amount. Now, before we go through the Kamala Harris news, let's go inside the comment section regarding Gary Gensler coming back in the scenes. It seems like Gary Gensler does not want to let go. So before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Again, if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one, giving short and sweet, simple answers to get through all the comments. It's no secret that Gary has always wanted the US Treasury job, which is also factual, yes. A very, very, very long time ago, the beans were spilled by a person that's a member of Ripple. So she came out, she was also a treasury as well. She came out, Linda, and she said that Gary Gensler wants to become a US Treasury. And it looks like Gary Gensler is about to reach his dream job in this case. Hi, Miles. Let's see where I was. Glenda, good to see you. How you doing? Heard that the key price for Bitcoin is when it reaches 70,000, signal a major rise on XRP's price. Miles, any thoughts? No. Because they're going to be moving on separate paths. Don't forget that some of these crypto assets are going to be moving on separate paths due to their use cases. Hi, Miles. Why is crypto stuck in first gear? Jim, you need to give a little bit of a breathing time. Hi, Miles. Regarding crypto assets, hi, Miles and CMF. Is it time to turn on my CMF TV? Good to see you guys. How you doing, Theodore? Good to see you. Hi, Miles. All in CMF. Sorry, a bit late tonight. Hope I haven't missed too much. Added perfect timing. Let's not forget that BTC's total supply is less than 21 million, since some of them got lost. When is bull run? I just hear excuses. Bull run is in progress. Hello, Miles and family. Troy, good to see you as well. How you doing? Because, Jim, you've got to understand one key factor right now is we're going into regulations with the banks institutions coming in. And the banks institutions are not going to be coming in full throttle unless we have a safety net for them. And a safety net for banks institutions to be coming full throttle is regulations. So later on, they don't go into any sort of mishaps and get sued somewhere along the line by the CFTC or the SEC or any other jurisdiction around them, for example, the FCA and so on. So we're in a stage right now with regulations, banks, and institutions, and they're coming in. The progress is there that they are coming in. So give it some patience, Jim. Regulations can't be done overnight. Gary and Kamala husband are bully bullies. Greetings, Miles on CMF. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? JP, let's go. So Kamala Harris, a topic that nobody likes. Kamala Harris, inside the crypto space as well. And Kamala Harris is allegedly considering SEC Chairman Gary Gensler as the US Treasury Secretary if she wins the election. Vice President Kamala Harris may nominate Securities and Exchange Commission SEC Chairman Gary Gensler to be a Treasury Secretary if she wins the November election, sources said. Although Gary Gensler has not publicly stated that he wants to leave his current role, multiple senior Senate staffers have shared this possibility of happening. The speculation also echoes comments from the top Republicans who have suggested Gary Gensler could be next in line for the Treasury role. The nomination would mark a significant shift for Gensler, who has been a leading figure in regulating the crypto industry, Gary Gensler hasn't proposed one regulation. I don't know why the article has suggested that he's a leading figure for the crypto industry. He hasn't led anything. He's just sued everything. The possibility of Gary Gensler moving to the Treasury Department raises questions about his ongoing involvement in the crypto regulations and the impact it could have on his career. Representative Tom Hemmer voiced strong opposition to the idea, arguing that Gary Gensler's appointment or a similar nomination by Senator Elizabeth Warren could spell disaster for the U.S. economy. Emma criticized Gensler's tenure at the SEC. If Kamala Harris wins, there is a likely unified Republican opposition to Gensler. Although she could receive broad Democratic support, notable Democrats such as Reps Elisa Skelton, Rubin, and Gallagher, both of whom have received significant contributions for pro-crypto fair share, essentially PACs, could play a role in Gary Gensler's being chosen as the U.S. Treasury. However, neither representatives has commented on their potential votes for Gary Gensler, and Republicans are preparing to strongly oppose his nomination. In addition to the speculation about Gary Gensler's potential role at the Treasury, there have also been rumors that he could resign from his SEC post before the election. So there are rumors going around that Gary Gensler could possibly resign before the US elections. That move could prompt President Joe Biden to nominate a new SEC chairman, possibly someone like Caroline Crenshaw, who is known for her critical stance towards the crypto industry. So if you thought for a second that this is excellent news, Gary Gensler is about to be either resigning or losing his job, it seems like the person next chosen by Joe Biden is going to be someone worse or on the same level of Gary Gensler's thinking strategy. So Katie Baber, the chief legal officer at the crypto investment firm Paragram, suggested that Gensler's plan could be in play. That plan could involve Gensler stepping down as SEC chairman and Biden appointing a successor, and Gensler potentially moving into a Treasury role if Kamala Harris wins. So I wouldn't say this is an excellent plan in any sort of a way. I mean, if Joe Biden does choose, let's just imagine for a second, we come up to the US elections and it's true, Gary Gensler resigns. Let's just picture it like this. US elections is coming up, Gary Gensler resigns. And then Joe Biden chooses his successor, which is in this case going to be Caroline Crenshaw, who was worse than Gary Gensler or on the same level. That wouldn't be good in terms of voting power from the crypto space, because if Joe Biden, who technically right now Biden administration, Kamala Harris VP and so on, it wouldn't look good for them in terms of voting, because who's going to vote for Kamala Harris knowing that the next successor is going to be to Gary Gensler, is going to be someone worse than Gary Gensler, which means innovation will just come to a halt inside the United States, which is an interesting play if he does do that. But it wouldn't make sense to anyone vote, not that anyone is going to be voting for Kamala Harris from the crypto community. Other communities can if they want to vote for it, they can vote for it. Everybody has free will to vote for whoever they want. But everybody remember, their voting power does impact the rest of the world. It's not just United States related. The next president of the United States does impact the entire world. Just keeping that in mind. But this wouldn't be good for their voting. So I don't possibly think Joe Biden would, not Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is not awake, but the people around Joe Biden, in terms of the Biden administration, I don't think they will do that. That's not a very smart move to, one, get rid of Gary Gensler, and two, put somebody worse. But let's see how things play out. Politics is an interesting and very corrupt world. And in terms of crypto voters, it's quite a lot of crypto voters inside the United States, a ridiculous amount. And Ian has put the amount inside the comment section. I was going to give you the amount, but 50 million. 50 million individuals have voting power in terms of the United States, crypto voting power. In terms of crypto users who are holding cryptocurrencies, about 50 million people on paper. Off paper, there's a lot more as well. Now, before we go through the next news, which is regarding Moody's, the same rating agency that gave the ratings back in 2008, which was fake ratings, which crashed the markets back in 2008. And Moody's has decided to enter the crypto space and start dishing out ratings inside the crypto space, because they did such an excellent job back in 2008 when they lied on purpose and said the banking world is doing excellent. And then we had a crash in 2008. And the reason why Moody's lied and nobody ever looked into it is because it's Moody's, and it's because it's Wall Street. Wall Street tend to look after each other. But Moody's has decided to enter the crypto fields and start dishing out ratings. So we're going to talk about that next on tonight's live show. But before we do, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were at. We were at here. We better get our crypto before the institutions price us out. Hello, Miles and CMF. Carol, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Is she sick? The weasel shouldn't be nominated to run a grocery store. Congress needs to block that nomination. Yeah, I agree. Let's start our own pack, the CMF crypto pack. Let's go. I will give pen to pen his signature to registration letter. 50 million crypto voters. Yep, thanks, Miles. Let's go in. It doesn't affect Ripple anymore, as they have had a massive win against the weasel. That is true. But also the Ripple versus SEC could have also been just one big massive show. And I've explained that why a long time ago, which the show has just come to an end. And Gary Gensler gets what he wants. Ripple has got the regulation that they needed, and everybody moves away happy, song and dance towards the end of the movie. But for everybody else inside the crypto space, if you're holding any of the crypto assets, if the U.S. Treasury is going to be Gary Gensler and somebody worse is going to be in charge of the SEC, the rest of the crypto space is done for. But yeah, Ripple and XRP, they just sailed past completely into winnings. But the rest of the crypto projects, not good for them. It doesn't, yeah, honestly, it only delays the regulations to be implemented. Pretty much, yes. Now, regarding Moody's Epilytic join forces for enhanced VASP licensing risk screening. Moody's financial research and ratings firm has teamed up with blockchain analytics company and compliance specialist Epilytic to provide more insightful screenings of virtual asset service providers. According to the companies, the collaboration, which essentially will leverage off-chain and on-chain data in a single interference. The new service will take an input such as digital asset transactions, historians, financial records, and regulatory database to create a comprehensive overview of the VASP licensings. Now, TraderFi needs better VASP screenings. Epilytic has profiles of over 1,000 VASPs and use real-time on-chain data and technology to screen digital asset transactions for exposure to illicit activities. Moody's off-chain data includes this is how big Moody's rating system is, essentially the filings they have. So Moody's off-chain data includes over 21 million risk profiles, 489 million entities, and 51,000 sanctioned entitles it claims. It uses the data to produce anti-money laundering, AML, and know your customer solutions for its clients. The firm's combined information will be used to create an integrated risk, essentially engine, is what they're calling it. The firm said in a joint statement, they pointed out to the increasing need for such services in traditional finance. Traditional financial services acting as a new entry and exit points for digital assets needs to adapt to a more complicated task for crafting effective AML and compliance frameworks inclusive of both asset classes. The service will be underpinned by epileptic historic technology for tracking the proceeds of crime as it moves between assets and blockchains in an efficient and scalable way. A wealth of knowledge to offer. Epileptic provides support to 43 blockchains as well as exchanges and other members of the crypto ecosystem. It also researchers include hacks and release reports on crypto crime trends. Moody's has also produced several reports on the impacts of digital currencies on traditional and Web3 finance. In particular, Moody's has looked at stablecoins coming out on regarding stablecoin reserves rating systems back in January 2023 is when they started giving out some ratings. In November, Moody's Analytics debuted a service that uses artificial intelligence to predict parable depeggings in terms of 24 hours in advance. So Moody's has came out inside the crypto space right now, and they partnered with a blockchain analytics firm. Now, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Or does this have any sort of movement happening inside the crypto space with this happening? Yes. Okay, with Moody's coming inside the crypto space, Moody's being a one prominent, essentially rating agency for Wall Street heads, with Moody's entering the fields regarding blockchain, regarding cryptocurrencies, it's going to bring confidence for Wall Street members to enter the crypto fields at a lot more faster rates. Because in terms of the crypto space, we only have Chain Analysis or some other crypto firms that give out ratings, and Wall Street doesn't really listen to Chain Analysis or K30 and so on and so on. Like, there's a lot of random, they're, in my eyes, they're all positive, these crypto companies that have started up and started rating the crypto space and making sure everything's secure and safe for investors. But Wall Street doesn't listen to these random blockchain companies. They prefer the companies they're used to, like Moody's rating system. So with Moody's coming inside the crypto space right now, dishing out ratings, trying to make this space secure and safe, they're making it secure and safe not for retail investors, but for Wall Street heads. Those are the people with the real amount of money in their pockets. So with Moody's coming in, it means that they're essentially trying to clean up and prepare the crypto space for Wall Street, which is massive news on that basis. So that is why and Moody's has designed a software that can tell 24 hours before a stablecoin depegs, which is also vital information for any institution from Wall Street that's going to be entering to know not to use a particular stablecoin because 24 hours later it's going to depeg. So Moody's has designed quite a lot of softwares in general as well for it to be able to diagnose problems before they even happen, which they're preparing. Moody's has came in to prepare the crypto space so Wall Street can enter comfortably. So that is positive news in general. Another sign of progress of how many institutions are coming into play. Now, Hashkey Group. Hashkey Group is one of the most prominent essentially one of the most prominent digital asset financial services companies in Asia. And they've just essentially entered the ranks into Telegram and Ton ecosystem. Now, if you've heard of Ton ecosystem, you know what I'm talking about when I say it's an amazing project and has a huge user base that is progressing quite rapidly. And by that, I mean essentially Telegram. Ton, it was designed, essentially Telegram designed Ton. If you didn't know, he's a little small snippet background of regarding Ton, very small snippet, but Telegram designed Ton a very, very, very long time, the Ton blockchain. And then they dropped Ton blockchain progress because the SEC decided to sue Telegram for designing Ton. So they dropped Ton. And then 3 or 4 developers picked up the Ton project. And then later on, Ton partners with Telegram. So there's the loophole that was made. Because they couldn't develop it directly, they developed it indirectly and partnered with it. Now, Telegram has 900 million users. Ton obviously doesn't have 900 million users right now, but Telegram is only ever going to be using Ton blockchain. Why? Because they developed it for a purpose. So Telegram has 900 million users, and Ton is their only blockchain project for life. And a lot of things are happening on Telegram. On Telegram regarding their Web3 market space they're developing. A lot of things are happening on Ton's essentially ecosystem as well. I said this for a while. I said everybody's focused on Solana, or everybody's focused on the next project that's coming up, which is Base Network, but a lot of people should start looking into Ton's ecosystem because it's going to grow. What Ton has is one major play that the rest don't have, that Solana doesn't have, and neither does Base. And that major play that essentially Ton has is 900 million users. Solana would dream of having 900 million users, is what I've said previously, and it's true. Most blockchain projects would dream of having 900 million users. Now, how does Ton have 900 million users? It doesn't now, but it's going to eventually, because it's the only project for Telegram, and Telegram has 900 million users, and Telegram is slowly becoming a blockchain project. X isn't the only platform that is going to become an everything app. So X is not the only platform that's going to become everything app. Telegram is aiming to become an everything app as well, and the only blockchain they're using is Ton's ecosystem. So on that, they have been adding quite a lot of companies to their list regarding Ton's ecosystem and regarding Telegram. Binance has joined the ranks. OKX Exchange has joined the ranks, developing apps for them, funding projects for them. And now Hashkey has joined the ranks as well for Telegram's ecosystem. Hashkey Group partners with Telegram, Catizen to develop GameFi sector. Hashkey Group, one of the most prominent digital asset financial services companies in Asia, has teamed up with Catizen, a Telegram mini app. This initiative is Hashkey Group's first clear step into the Web3 domain. Combined, they want to create gaming finance, essentially gamify products and digital entertainment infrastructure under the Ton ecosystem. Subject to the collaboration, the Catizen users will be able to obtain regulated digital asset services from the licensed exchange Hashkey Group, a subsidiary of Hashkey Group. Hashkey Global will guarantee the quality of the digital asset services to help emerging the gamified market space on Ton's ecosystem. This is especially the case given the ever-increasing attention towards Ton ecosystem, with more and more developers participating on that platform. The fast growth of Ton's blockchain was another reason why Hashkey Group decided to work with Catizen. The companies identified the opportunity in the Ton ecosystem. The ecosystem has experienced an increase in developer commitment in the last few quarters. Hashkey's managing director, Ben, noted that experienced teams should be used in DeFi and gaming projects like Catizen. Catizen and Hashkey joined forces for gamify improvements on Ton's ecosystem. Hashkey Group and Catizen's collaboration also seeks to tackle the problems that concern the gamify and Web3 gaming industries. Among the main problems is this sphere of gaming sustainability, which concerns both Web3 and traditional Web2 games. Games are often developed with short lifespans. This often makes it difficult for users to stay engaged and make them unprofitable. Tim Wong, the chairman of Catizen Foundation, noted that the proper tracking mechanisms are required to measure user engagement. He explained that the third-party platforms play a crucial role in the monitoring interactions and addressing on-chain users within Catizen. According to Wong, Catizen has more than 120 million daily active users. Therefore, they are a key player in the gamify space. This partnership will also improve the user experience on Catizen on data tracking and analysis tools on integrating into the app. These tools will help the developers make proper strategic decisions at the right time based on real-time user data. This partnership is focused on establishing a long-term and healthy gamified ecosystem in the Ton blockchain. Hashkey and Catizen boost Ton ecosystem growth, boost it. The Hashkey Group and Catizen partnership is one way the Ton ecosystem is being extended. Ton Ventures, a new venture capital company, is now targeting early-stage crypto projects within the Ton blockchain with $40 million in fundings. This fund will help investors find builders who will help them grow and further their ecosystem. Besides the partnerships of Hashkey and Catizen, Ton has also introduced other strategic partnerships with several participants in the blockchain industry. This week, Ton collaborated with Python Network, a decentralized data coral, to improve the data provisions for the developers working on Ton blockchain. This partnership will ensure that Python's advanced coral data feeds are essentially incorporated to help the developers create unique decentralized applications. In addition, Ton has partnered with Into the Block, ITB, on an on-chain analytics and DeFi service company to bolster these networks even more. These events demonstrate that TON blockchain has become a new promising center of gravity for Web3 and gamified projects and their developments. With the partnership of Hashkey Group and Cadizan, this expansion is very significant and will be the foundation for the future developments in digital entertainments. I've said this before and I'll say it again. TON is an excellent project to look into. Everybody's focused on Solana. Everybody's focused on Base Network being the next upcoming rising blockchain project. TON is better than both of them and has access to 900 million users. There are crypto projects out there that are dreaming of having about 900 million users, and TON has access to that. Eventually, everyone that's using Telegram will be on TON's ecosystem, which is massive news. Incredible news. So now they have Hashkey Group behind them. One of the most prominent financial companies in Asia is behind TON's ecosystem. That is massive news for TON. I mentioned TON when it was first launched. So if you listen to me back then, you're up in profits, but it still has massive room to grow. TON still has massive room to grow because that 900 million users are slowly transitioning into actual TON users. And you'll feel thinking, well, some people might not want to use TON on Telegram. Well, Telegram, because of becoming an everything app, eventually everyone will be using TON on essentially Telegram because it's becoming an everything app slowly, where you can do anything you want, book rides, book tables, restaurants, whatever you think of essentially X is going to be turning into is what Telegram's turning into. And Telegram already has 900 million users and TON is their own ecosystem. So while people are guessing what X is going to use, people are guessing X is going to use XRP. X has a massive user base as well, and people are guessing X is going to use XRP, it's going to use Solana, it's going to use Bitcoin. Well, there's no guessing with Telegram. We know what Telegram is going to use with its 900 million users, and it's TON because they developed it, but they developed it themselves. So no guessing needed when it comes to Telegram, the 900 million users, it's TON. It's just we're stuck on X on who's it going to be. But obviously X is going to have a massive role to play as well when they come out with whoever they're going to be choosing to go ahead on regarding Web3 and so on. X is also, going to be a massive platform as well in terms of Web3 blockchain technology and so on. But on Telegram side, we know who they've chosen already because they developed it. So TON is definitely a project to look into. If you already haven't, look into it. Now, next news to go from tonight's live show is tokenized real-world assets. Now, this is a subject that's been discussed quite a lot inside the crypto space, and every executive board member, every CEO has a different perspective of how big this market space is going to become in regarding tokenized real-world assets. Some have said the market space will become a $6 trillion market space in a time frame. Some people have said it will become a $9 trillion market space in the specific time frame. And now the new number is $30 trillion is what it's standing at. And this is a perspective from Polygon's executive. Now, before we go through that news, let's inside the comment section first. And by the way, if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section because I'm reading everybody's comments one by one and giving short and sweet answers. So if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. Let's see where we were. It only delays our implement. Yep, I read that one. Let's see where I was. Sui 09 cents. XRPs are close to date. Let's go. The amount of regulations happening worldwide is choking. What's more choking is people who put one and one together and understand who the next wave of customers are. Yep, facts. Which I've been saying pretty much for a while now. The next clientele entering the crypto space is institutional clientele. Spell Hasby, please. I want to research. Hashkey. Is that what you mean? Hashkey. Scott, is that what you're referring to? How much cost TON token? Right now, it's sitting at someone's put inside the comment section. £5.25 in British pounds and about $7 in dollars, just over £5 or $7 in US dollars. Thank you for that. It has been consistently in the top 10 trading in the past couple of months now. Facts. Let's go, Shelly. It has. TON is an excellent project to look into. TON, in my opinion, is better than Solana, is better than Cardano, it's better than the majority of the crypto projects right now. it has the user base to advance, 900 million users. Now, tokenized real-world assets is the next topic we're going to go through. Tokenized real-world assets are essentially $30 trillion opportunity, a perspective from Polygon's executives. Tokenized real-world assets represent a $30 trillion market opportunity globally. Colin Butler, Polygon's global head of institutional capital, told Cointelegraph in an interview, adoption will largely be driven by high net worth individuals, dramatically increasing the portfolio allocations to alternative assets, such as private credit, as tokenization brings liquidity and accessibility to historically liquid asset classes. The idea is that there are $300 trillion in global assets, half of which is $100 trillion are owned by individuals with net worths between $1 million and $30 million, whose portfolios allocations to alternative assets are often negligible, Butler said. So this is what his perspective is. So in the future, and probably not too far, you'll go to your JP Morgan private banker and he'll say, I see you have 0% allocated to this. I'd recommend more like an Edwin model of 20%. If you extrapolate that 20% to everyone else, it's $30 trillion opportunity globally. So he's basically saying, well, this is a perspective again from Polygon's head of global assets. And his perspective is, we're going into a stage where later on you're going to be able to walk into JP Morgan, and JP Morgan is going to give the option to enter this field of tokenized real-world assets. And if JP Morgan offers this option to every one of their banking clients, then we're talking about a $30 trillion market space, which is true, to diversify your portfolio. Approximately $9 billion has already been invested into tokenized private credit instruments so far, according to data from RWAXYZ. That figure is set to grow dramatically as large private equity funds enter the space, Butler said, essentially adding that this is already starting to happen regarding institutions coming into the play. It's already happening, which is facts. The big examples so far are the KKR, which was the first on Avalanche, and then Hamilton Lane. Braven Howard was the first big hedge fund example, and those are all tokenized on Polygon, Butler said. Butler expects this trend to continue with tens of billions of dollars of additional tokenized private asset issuance in the coming years. The heads of digitals at these places, they're thinking this way, he explained. If a private equity company with $500 billion in assets under management is modeling and raising $500 billion more in the next 5 years, they're modeling 10% growth or $50 billion from this vertical. Excluding stablecoins, approximately $11.6 billion in tokenized real-world assets are currently held on blockchain networks. This most popular real-world assets are currently tokenized money markets funds such as BlackRock's USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, iBuild, and Franklin Templeton's on-chain US government money fund, FOBXX. They manage somewhat of $520 million and $420 million respectively, according to real-world assets, essentially .xyz data. Polygon Technology develops blockchain scaling solutions and operates on Ethereum scaling chain with a total value locked at TVL at approximately $850 million, according to data from DeFi Llama. So we're already in about $9 billion in real-world assets when we're growing quite rapidly is what's happening, which is all facts. On the basis of what this person said regarding Polygon's executive board members saying these things, it's all facts. We are going heavily into real-world assets. We are getting a magnitude of institutions entering the crypto space. And we are already sitting at $9 billion in real-world assets. And it is going to grow to a $30 trillion market space and beyond, because later on banks will be offering this to people to add to their portfolios to diversify it. Now, here's some interesting perspective from crypto voters regarding crypto voters could host Harris. Essentially, crypto voters can cost the Kamala Harris US election, warns Skybridge Foundation. Now, Skybridge the Skybridge founder is against Donald Trump. Nobody knows why. And the thing is, it's not like he's being paid off either, because Skybridge's founder has a lot of money. So paying him off makes no sense. But blackmail, maybe he is being blackmailed, because paying him off makes no sense. The guy has a lot of money, but he could be blackmailed to be voting for Kamala Harris. But here's his perspective. So he said that crypto voters could be the negative impact regarding Kamala Harris winning the US elections. So this is what he has said. Before we go through, let's insert the comment section first. And it's much appreciated. Let's go. Thoughts on ADA dropping out of the top 10 miles? It's, I've said this before and I'll say it again. ADA it's not a terrible project, but there are better projects. There are projects better than Cardano. And Cardano is not a terrible project. There are terrible projects inside the crypto space. There are very, very bad projects inside the crypto space. Some people will call Cardano a dead project and so on. But in reality, it's not a terrible project. But there are so many great projects that are just better than Cardano. So that's why I've never had some sort of interest to go towards Cardano. Until I see major news happening towards Cardano, a major financial firm somewhere around the world picks up Cardano and goes, yes, this is the blockchain we're going to develop on, it's never going to be on my radar. Unless I hear a major financial instrument out there that's going to be choosing Cardano. So far, the last news I heard about Cardano was Dubai Police Department using Cardano for essentially data purposes. Unless Interpol picks it up on a major scale, then we're talking. But thoughts on Cardano dropping out of top 10? It makes sense because there are better projects that are way better than Cardano on every scale. In terms of contracts, partnerships, developments, licensings. When XRP news, towards the end, we're leaving the best towards the end. Now, going towards this news. There's a lot of XRP news to go through as well, but we're leaving that towards the end. Now, crypto voters. Crypto voters could essentially cost Kamala Harris the US election, warns Skybridge founder. Skybridge Capital founder Anthony said the presidential candidate Kamala Harris could lose the United States election by failing to attract pro-crypto voters. This is what he said, word for word. Let's say there are 25 million people that own crypto inside the United States. But let's say 5% of them are single issue voters. If they're in the swing states of the United States, she will lose the election, said Anthony. And this is an interview he was doing with Cointelegraph. A former White House communications director in the Trump administration, Anthony, acknowledges that the Democrat stance towards the crypto industry has been a disaster. Still, while most of the crypto community seems to have taken a stance of Trump because of his pro-crypto campaigns, Anthony thinks he's not a good candidate for crypto. So Anthony has came out, Skybridge founder, has came out still against Donald Trump. And he's still advocating for Kamala Harris. But he's a pro-crypto person that's advocating for Kamala Harris. While as Donald Trump owns 3 NFT projects and owns cryptocurrencies and is pro-cryptocurrency and has attended a crypto rally. But this is what Anthony has said. Now, I'm going to be bleeping a few words out. And this is what he said, word for word, in a Cointelegraph interview about Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to be bleeping the words out because I can't say them, because this show is being aired right now live on X and on YouTube, and there are some words you can't say. So, he's the most transactional son of a BITCH that you'll ever meet today. He's for crypto tomorrow. He may or may not be for crypto, he said. He's basically saying that Donald Trump is somebody that you can buy, is what he's trying to say. Anthony's trying to say that Donald Trump is a son of a, and that he'll be with you today for pro-crypto, and tomorrow he will say crypto who? And that Donald Trump can be brought. I mean, strong words from Anthony, but has he looked at the other side? The other side is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, 2 absolute broke people. Kamala Harris had to climb her way to the top on her knees, and the other one, Sleepy Joe, well, he was just sleepy all the way through the journey, but Sleepy Joe skims off the top when there's war scenarios happening. So Sleepy Joe makes his money by starting wars and essentially funding Iran before the war happened, the Middle East. And then you have the other candidate, Kamala Harris, who was the original Hawk Tour girl. So Has he looked at the other side when he says Trump is transactional? We're talking about a businessman that has money and multiple properties around the world, and you're calling Trump transactional, but not the original Hawk Tour girl and Sleepy Joe who funds wars so he can skim off the top. I mean, strong words on backing one side. Very strong words. According to Anthony, Trump aims to create a Russian type of situation that will weaken the US capital market and its standing in the world. According to Anthony, Trump is going to weaken the US. But Kamala is going to what? Strengthen the US? She was a part of Biden's administration, VP for Biden. And let's just look at how the US has been doing so far. Zero innovation for blockchain technology, while other countries are climbing the ladder back to back. Other countries are progressing in terms of innovations and regulation. And that's just the crypto sector. But even the countries that the US has sanctioned in terms of Russia is doing excellent in terms of their GDP and everything about them. So countries that have been sanctioned by the US are doing better than the US under Biden administration. And countries in terms of regulations of going into a digital future are doing better. What part is America doing better under the Biden administration, or what part is America really doing better under Kamala Harris? I think Anthony's confused on who he's voting for. Because how in the hell can you say that, under Trump, the economy is going to be going downfall, nobody's going to respect America, and so on, when you have Sleepy Joe? There's a reason the guy is called Sleepy Joe worldwide. It's not because everybody respects essentially Joe Biden. No, he's called Sleepy Joe because there is no respect for him. America is a laughingstock right now. And when Trump was in power, sure, most people didn't, essentially respect Trump, you could say, when he was in power. Most people didn't respect him. But they definitely feared him. That's what was going on when he was in power. Sure, most people didn't respect him, but they definitely feared him. Putin feared him. That nut job, Kim Jong-un from North Korea, was screaming and shouting and saying, I'm going to do this to the world. Trump landed in his country, shook that man's hand, and put him in his place. So sure, most people didn't respect Trump when he was leading the ranks, but they feared him. Even Iran feared Trump. Right now, Iran is scared. The Iranian, by the way, I'm Persian, so I'm Iranian as well. But I don't like the Iranian government whatsoever. I prefer the Shah of Iran, the king of Iran. Bring that to one side. The Iranian government is scared of Trump as well. The Iranian government has been feeding ChatGPT false articles. So when people ask ChatGPT about Donald Trump, it spews out lies. So the Iranian government has been hacking ChatGPT to give out fake information about Donald Trump. This is how scared the Iranian government is. The entire world is scared right now of Trump coming into power. Do you know why? Because all of their antics will come to an end. All of these antics that are going on around the world, people standing up and abusing their power, Trump will make them sit back down. So with Anthony coming out and spewing these absolute lies of, if Trump comes into power, then, this country is going to go sideways completely. There's no point of him coming into power because the economy will be down. The US will be a laughingstock. I'm sorry, is the US not a laughingstock right now? Have you seen the US? Joe Biden's done what exactly in 4 years? Kamala Harris has done what exactly in 4 years? And Kamala Harris is the best part about Kamala Harris is she keeps on coming up and doing these interviews. By the way, some of her policies are stolen from Donald Trump's policies. But the best part is she keeps on coming up and doing these policies and go, I'm going to do this when I become president. I'm going to do that when I become president. I'm going to fix the United States when I become. Why don't you fix the United States now? For 4 years, you did absolutely nothing. Why couldn't you fix the United States for 4 years that you were running? You were running the show for 4 years and you did absolutely nothing. And some people claim, well, Joe Biden's actually the president and Kamala Harris doesn't really have that much power. We're talking about Joe Biden here. The guy doesn't even know where he's standing. Joe Biden doesn't know how to walk, how to stand, how to speak, how to read, how to eat. So nobody was stopping Kamala Harris from actually fixing America. But Kamala Harris is leveraging votes and saying to people, if you vote for me, I'll fix America. I will do this and that. 4 years, what did you do? Nothing. And now apparently the next 4 years, you're going to fix America. Because the 4 years you're running the show, who was stopping you? Joe Biden? Joe Biden doesn't even know he's Joe Biden. So who's really stopping you? So this absurdness with, essentially saying oh, if Trump comes and America's economy is going to go down, or if Trump comes, nobody's going to respect America, and so on. Or in his case, if Trump comes, that will weaken the US capital markets and standing in the world. Have you seen what Joe Biden's done? Have you seen what Kamala's done? So, however, he recognized that Trump still remains the most attractive candidate for pro-crypto and single-issue voters. So he has some brain cells towards the end of his speech that he did an interview with Cointelegraph, but the rest of his interview was complete BS. Complete BS, calling Trump transactional. He's calling, out of 3 candidates, for example, we'll put the other candidate on the side, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we'll put him on the side. But out of the 2 candidates, the original Hawk Tour girl and a billionaire, and he's saying Trump is the transactional man. Who's more likely to take bribes, an original Hawk Tour girl or a billionaire? So how can you stand there in an interview and tell Cointelegraph that, oh, Trump is transactional, he's going to get paid off to do things, while the other candidate got to where she was because of her knees. She was on her knees all the way up to the ranks, and she's not transactional, but the billionaire is. So, absolute BS. Absolute BS. Now, US institutions is the next news we're going to go for tonight's live show. Because you know what it is? I can, look the other way when it comes to politicians and politics, but sometimes you just get enough and you go, you know what? I'm tired of hearing this BS. And I just want to set the record straight that they're brainwashing people for the wrong reasons. That, there is a lot of lies and spews happening. And these CEOs and executives and board members that are coming out and going, yes, Kamala's the clear winner. Have you seen the US economy? For 4 years, she did nothing. But for the next 4 years, she's going to fix everything, apparently. Now, and by the way, if anybody thinks I'm saying this because she's a woman, that's not why I'm saying it either. Because I've said this many times and I'll say it again. I know plenty of executives and board members that are women, that are extremely intelligent, that will be 10,000 times or 1 billion times better candidates than Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris has a brain cells of a goldfish, and she should be nowhere near any sort of a political podium to be giving out speeches about anything. She has zero clue about how the economy works. She has zero clue about anything. Even in we're going into a blockchain world. We're going into a digital world. And if anybody still thinks till this day we're not going into BlackRock is inside the digital world. Vanguard is inside the digital world. Van Eyck is inside the digital world. Franklin Templeton inside the digital world. JP Morgan inside. Goldman Sachs, Standard Chartered Bank, HSBC Bank, Lloyds Bank, Standard Deb. And I could go on for days and days on list of companies and banks inside the blockchain space right now. So if you still think we're not going to digital world, we are. And do you really want somebody leading one of the most powerful countries in this world, describing to somebody how the data storage works? You have files. This was her interview. You have files in the cabinet, and then you take the files and you throw the lock away and you put it inside this cloud. Do you really want somebody like that leading a country going into a blockchain world? United States. Now the next news regarding this matter of institutions, US institutions redefine money. But the founder of Skybridge, pathetic. Any executive board member or CEO supporting Kamala Harris, pathetic. We all know you're not being paid off. We know if you're a millionaire or a billionaire and you're supporting Kamala Harris and you're an executive board member or CEO of a company, we all know that you're not being paid off because you have money, and a few $1,000s isn't going to do much for you. But we know they're definitely blackmailing you, because if you had any sort of brain cells, you wouldn't be voting for somebody that couldn't understand basics of life. So we know for a fact that if you are an executive board member or a CEO of a major company and you're coming out and advocating for Kamala Harris, we know that you're not being paid off because you have money, but they're definitely blackmailing you. So just point it out there. We're not stupid. We know that you're not getting paid off because you have money, but they definitely have something on you. And if you're genuinely voting for it and they have nothing on you and you're not being paid off, then God help us all, because you have zero brain cells. Now, US institutions redefining money. is the next topic we're going to go through on tonight's live show. Before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. If you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. We are live right now. Let's go inside the comment section first. Let's go, Miles. Brilliant info. Let's go, Ian. The US has been laughingstock for 15 to 20 years. I talked to soldiers from other countries during desert shields and desert storms, war on terror operations, and during freedom of Palestine operations. Kamala doesn't have any clue. I'm not a Kamala fan, nor a Trump fan either. For president. Let's go, Scott. What did Trump and Obama do when they were president, vice president for 10 years, Miles? What did Biden and Obama do? Nothing as well. I'm so sick of seeing these news here. It's just so filtered towards Harris and how great she is and how bad Trump is. Honestly, heard that when Kamala Harris handed over to Biden at the conference, everyone got up and left. The president has no real power without the U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives to support it, which is true up to a certain extent. Anthony Schroeder is more of the real deal to me. He rarely supports any Democratic initiative. He's a true conservative. Also, he's one of the few people Trump does not talk negatively about publicly. Anthony, for the first time ever, I mean, his brain cells were not there during that interview. I'll be honest. I had a serious discussion with a relative who said Trump staged his own assassination. I can't believe people think this. We need new blood in American political arena. I agree. We definitely need new blood in politicians. And in the world of politics, we definitely need, 100%, we definitely need a new generation of politicians, without a doubt. But the issue is the new generation that's coming out, not our generation or my generation, but the newer generation that's coming out. They'll be worse than Kamala Harris. Not just saying that to be rude, but the newer generation that's coming out right now, if they're going to be leading into politics, they'll be worse than Kamala Harris. And that's saying something because she's absolutely terrible. I was about to swear there, but she's absolutely terrible. But the older generation is good. You know, there are people good in every sort of generation. Not saying everybody's bad, but there are good in people in every generation. But the newer generation that's coming out right now, yeah, they're not the most brightest subjects. Now, but I agree, we do need new blood inside the political sphere, 100%. Miles, what are you saying about the USA? Nobody's laughing over here. Economy has been as good. Great inflation. Everything is perfect. We have election coming up. It's just great here. Let's go, JP. Great inflation. Let's go. Miles, I agree with your assessment of the new generation. Yep. Honestly. Now, US institutions redefine money. A collection of US agencies are working on redefining the concept of money, because money is going digital and there's a lot of things that's happening behind the scenes that you are not aware of, but you're about to become aware of. Miles, what was the girl's name again? You said Lo. I've never heard of her. Oh, the original Hawk 2 ago. Now, the US institution, which is basically Kamala Harris, but the US institutions redefine money. A collection, and these aren't my words, there was a news anchor that decided to give out this information. I think it was a Fox News anchor or CNBC news anchor. Now, US institutions redefine money. A collection of US agencies are working on redefining the concept of money. Glassnode data reveals that almost 75% of Bitcoin's supply has remained static over the past 6 months. Simultaneously, Cantor Fitzgerald, president, will lead Donald Trump's transition team if he secures the presidency this November. U.S. regulatory efforts intensify. Key federal agencies in the United States are collaborating to update the definition of money to enhance reporting requirements for cryptocurrency transactions. There's a lot of regulations and policies happening behind the scenes. that you would have never known about. But now you're going to know about it because you're tuned into this live show. So, on August 16th, the US Treasury Department unveiled a 6-month regulatory agenda aimed at creating a balanced regulatory environment for both cryptocurrencies and traditional fiat currencies. The Federal Reserve and the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the FinCEN, plan to redefine money in the context of the Bank Secrecy Act, the Bank Secrecy Act. Now, the updated proposal aims to encompass local and cross-border, keyword here, transactions involving convertible virtual currencies, because we need cross-border regulations in place for the banking world for a particular project to start moving. And that particular project is Ripple and XRP. But it seems like behind the scenes, there are actually wheels turning in terms of a regulation coming in place for cross-border payments to be happening. Because I answered this question once where somebody asked, Ripple is regulated, why is nobody using it? And I said, yes, Ripple's token, essentially XRP, is regulated, which is correct. It is regulated. But what needs to happen also is there needs to be regulations in place for cross-border payments domestically or internationally for the regulated token to become operational. So yes, XRP is regulated, but the regulations still need to be in place for the banks to be able to do cross-border transactional payments, which is actually happening behind the scenes. So on-chain data, for example, now this is about multiple cryptocurrencies. On-chain data from this regulatory move seeks to ensure such virtual currencies are subject to the same scrutiny as traditional currencies. So this Bank Secrecy Act that's been updated inside the United States that nobody's talking about is actually involving cryptocurrencies and the basis of cross-border payments. Now, on-chain data from Glassnode indicates that roughly 3/4 of circulating Bitcoin has not been moved in over 6 months. This trend is essentially illustrated by Glassnode's hold wave chart, which analyzes blockchain data to track Bitcoin held in wallets based on their last transactional time. This is a notable increase from a week prior, when only 45% of Bitcoin's supply had been inactive for at least 6 months. Despite 21% decrease from its all-time high, about 74% of Bitcoin has remained untouched this year. That's an impressively high number. Now, Trump's transition team prepares. Howard Lincoln, the president of the financial services firm Catton Fixot, is set to lead Donald Trump's transition to the White House should he win the upcoming election. The announcement was confirmed by Trump's campaign team on August 16th, also naming Linda McMahon, the co-founder of WWE, as a part of the transition team. Both Lincoln and McMahon have been significant donors to Trump's 2024 campaign. Now, key takeaways. Implementations for financial institutions. US federal agencies are redefining the definition of money to include virtual currencies for better regulation. Approximately 75% of Bitcoin's circulating supply has remained stationary in recent months, indicating investors' holding patterns. Donald Trump's potential presidential transition team includes notable figures from the financials and entertainment sectors. These developments signal critical shifts in the regulatory oversight and political preparations involving key stakeholders in both the financial and cryptocurrency sector. So, behind the scenes, there are many US agencies involved actually changing regulations and policies behind the scenes. They're changing the Bank Secrecy Act to involve cross-border payments, in terms of digital currencies. So cross-border payments can happen domestically and internationally inside the United States and beyond the United States, which a particular crypto project needs that regulation in place to be able to be used as a cross-border token, which is XRP. This regulation comes into full effect, then we can see the movements happening. Now, which comes to the second green light. I've always said XRP needs 3 green lights. First green light was the case. Second green light is regulations due to XRP's clientele, Ripple's clientele being banks and institutions, and banks and institutions need regulations because regulations are a safety net for the corporate sector. So second green light has always been regulations, and third green light has always been adoption. So first green light case, which it got, second green light regulations, which is about to get, and third green light is adoption, which is being used. Which means the second green light is actually happening behind the scenes now that the case has come to an end. So moving on from that news to, which is major news regarding what's actually happening behind the scenes that nobody's talking about, where the Bank Secrecy Act is actually changing to include digital payments and cross-border payments inside the United States from multiple US agencies are doing this. Now, US agency governments. The next news topic to talk about on tonight's live show, putting that to one side, which milestone news, is Solana. Solana ETFs. So recently, Solana ETFs were removed. A filing that was done for a Solana ETF was removed, which caused a lot of people to think, is Solana dropping out of the ranks? And some people still have faith in Solana, no matter what. So Solana ETFs are apparently still in play, according to Van Eck executive, who's came out and gave his perspectives. Before I give you the news on that matter, let's see if anything inside the comment section. Miles, what is it? She's Aussie, I think. Now, Solana ETFs still in play, despite SIBO's filing removal. The Chicago Exchange did remove their filings for ETF Solana. Now, asset manager Van Eck plans for a Solana exchange-traded fund ETF are still in play, despite the removal of SIBO's global markets regulatory filings proposing the list to essentially fund on this exchange, according to an X post by Matthew Siegel, the Van Eck's head of digital asset research. This is what he said. Some have noticed that the 19B4 for the Van Eck Solana ETF has been removed from the SIBO website. Siegel said, adding, remember that exchanges like NASDAQ and SIBO file rule changes 19B4 to list new ETFs. Issuers like Van Eck are responsible for the prospects of S1. Our remains in play. On 9th of July, National Securities Exchange, SIBO, filed a request for the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission seeking to list Van Eck's 21 and 21 shares planned Solana ETFs and asking the SEC to make a final decision by March. The filing is referred to as the 19B4 and is distinct from the S1s filed by the issuers. As of August 9th, the 19B4 filings ceased to be visible on SIBO's website, promoting speculation about the status of that proposed investment fund. Forms for the 19B4 for Van Eck and 21 share Solana ETFs appear to have removed from the SIBO website, according to an X post by Summers, co-founder of intelligence network Simpok. Now, my question is, does it mean that the 19B4s were withdrawn, is what she was asking. So fast forward a little bit. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs launched in January and July, respectively, using essentially a typical Gantt trust fund essentially structure, typically designed for funds that are passively holding a single type of commodity. Issuers say the success of a similar proposal may hinge on whether proposed Solana ETFs can conform to a similar structure. So Van Eck gave their perspectives, their last perspectives on the matter. Van Eck believes that Solana is a commodity, which, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, this belief is informed by involving legal perspectives, where courts and regulators have begun to recognize that certain crypto assets may function as securities in primary markets, but behave more like commodities in secondary markets, according to Van Eck as well. We remain committed to advocating this position alongside our exchange partners to the appropriate regulators. So, is Solana going to get, an Solana ETF? Yes, but it needs to be regulated first. It seems like token by token regulation is what's going to be happening, or a group of token regulation is going to be happening, which means that Bitcoin is regulated, Ethereum is regulated because it has an ETF, and the next token in line to get some sort of an ETF inside the United States is actually going to be XRP because it's regulated. And Solana's ETF, a perspective from Van Eck, the original filers, Van Eck was the ones that filed in for a Solana ETF, and then they withdrew their filings. And now there's a perspective from them, which they're essentially saying that it's the regulation issue. It's either a group of regulation is going to be happening for tokens because they behave differently on different market types, and once they get a green light is what's going to be coming for an ETF. So they're saying we're doing a Solana ETF. They're saying we're doing a Solana ETF without a doubt. But first, Solana needs to get the green light it needs to become an ETF. And that means a group of tokens need to get regulated, or individual regulation is what's going to be happening. But what has regulations now is XRP. So pretty much XRP should be the next ETF coming on inside the United States. Outside the United States, they can have different ETFs happening. But we all know it's all about inside the United States. Now, we're getting to the XRP news. Basically now, we're getting to the XRP news. Now, starting now, it's going to be XRP and CBDC related, banking related, central bank related, essentially Bank of International Settlements related is what's going to be happening now. So we have through a mixture of news, a multitude of mixture of news, but now we're going into the Ripple and CBDC central bank news, and the European Central Bank news, United Arab Emirates Bank news, and so on is what we're going into now. So XRP related. Hi Miles, the CMF. Sorry I'm late. I had to work late. Mike, no problem, brother. Good to see you. And Mike, perfect timing because we're about to go for the banking and XRP news. Now, I said this before and I'll say it again. Some people hate Ripple or XRP, and some people like Ripple and XRP. Either way, you can't ignore it. Because 98% of the world in centralized banks are in CBDCs, and there is 24,000 crypto projects, and only one has a CBDC active platform. And if you use a little bit of common sense and some brain cells, you realize Ripple does matter in this whole banking equation. It does play a vital role. 24,000 crypto projects, and one crypto project only has an active CBDC platform with multiple CBDC awards, and 98% of the world, in terms of centralized banks, are in CBDCs, in terms of Bank of International Settlements. So like Ripple or hate Ripple, what you need to understand is it definitely plays a vital role. That's the best news I heard today. Let's go, Mike. Now, Raw Bank. So Rack Bank is next what we're going to talk about in tonight's live stream. Rack Bank partners with Bitpanda to launch UAE's next big digital asset platform. Bitpanda is, you could say, Bitpanda is a Ripple partner because XRP does get moved through Bitpanda a lot, actually, and a few other exchanges as well. But XRP, for example, Uphold, the ones that they have partnerships is the ones that XRP goes through. Now, if you know, obviously from the XRP case, XRP has to be, from the Ripple case, XRP has to be sold indirectly, which means through exchanges. And Bitpanda is one of those exchanges, and Bitpanda has just got green lighted. So Rack Bank partners with Bitpanda to launch. Now, this isn't just Bitpanda getting a license, like, you know, any crypto random platform going to Dubai or United Arab Emirates and getting a crypto license is bigger than that, because not only do they have a green light for a license, but they're also partnering with a bank in the UAE. And it's this particular exchange. And you know what's interesting as well? Bitpanda is the exact same exchange that's partnered about 2 weeks ago. I just reminded myself, about 2 weeks ago on this live show, I told everyone that Bitpanda partnered with major German banks and Austria banks as well, Austria banks and German banks. And I said, nothing happens in this world by coincidence, and everything is coordinated when it's on a large scale, especially in the corporate section, because I'm from the corporate sector as well, but everything happens on a coordinated movement. And those German banks, those major German banks, they could have partnered with any crypto exchange. They could have partnered with Binance. They could have partnered with Coinbase, which are bigger than Bitpanda. They are bigger than Bitpanda. And the German banks, the major German banks, said we partnered with the best exchange. But they could have partnered with Binance. It's bigger than Bitpanda. They could have partnered with Coinbase. It's bigger than Bitpanda. They could have partnered with Crypto.com, with Kraken. They're bigger. But in terms of user base, it's not worldwide, but they partner with Bitpanda. Why? Because Ripple is for essentially going directly through Bitpanda. Everything happens on a coordinated scale. And now Bitpanda has also partnered with Rack Bank inside the United Arab Emirates. There's a reason why Bitpanda has partnered with this bank, because it's the indirect for XRP. Now, Rack Bank partners with Bitpanda to launch UAE's next big digital asset platform. I remember I asked you about Bitpanda a few weeks ago. Yes, you did. Now, Bitpanda Technology Solutions and Rack Bank work together to develop the UAE's top digital asset management platform. They're developing the top of the range digital asset management platform in the UAE, Bitpanda and Rakbank inside United Arab Emirates. This collaboration will provide the area with more equitable access to digital resources. The Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates is basically what they filed in their permission with Rakbank's vision for digital asset management. The collaboration demonstrates Rakbank's progressive handling of digital assets. The bank's Group Chief Customer Officer, Dongjong Chi, stressed the value of digital assets for upcoming financial managements. Cho stated, "We believe digital asset represents one of the future ways of customers to manage their finances more efficiently and securely. Hence, the bank aims to fill a critical market gap by offering a regulated environment for digital asset transactions." Moreover, the collaboration allows Rakbank to leverage Bitpanda's established crypto infrastructure. As a result, this greatly reduced complexities by removing the requirement for the bank to create an internal digital asset system. Lucas, CEO of Bitpanda Technology Solutions, expressed excitement about the collaboration. He reaffirmed the company's support for these goals and commended Rakbank for its innovative work inside the United Arab Emirates cryptocurrency industry, aligning with the UAE's broader crypto initiatives. Furthermore, the action is aligned with the larger plans in Ras Al Khaimah, including the establishments of RAK Digital Asset Oasis, the RAK DAO. This free trade area is committed to promoting blockchain, artificial intelligence, and cryptocurrency innovation. It is an important step towards incorporating digital assets in the UAE mainstream finance. Mainstream finance being the keyword here. Additionally, the UAE's crypto adoption continues to accelerate. Recent advancements include enabling digital crypto transactions through the UAE bank accounts and recognizing crypto as a valid form of salary payments. These developments indicate the country's growing acceptance of digital assets in various financial activities. Furthermore, the proposed platform is expected to address the market's demand for regulated digital asset management solutions by providing a secure environment for digital asset transactions. Rakbank and Bitpanda are poised to meet the needs of the UAE residents. They filed in with the Central Bank of Dubai, essentially the Central Bank of the UAE. They're waiting for their green light. They've done all their paperwork and they filed it in. Are they going to get their green light? 1,000,000% yes. And the reason why I'll tell you 1,000,000% yes is, here's another indication of, on matters that I've been incredibly right on. When the Bank of Bahrain, when the Central Bank of Bahrain essentially gave a green light to XRP for being a halal project for their Shari law, the Central Bank of Bahrain, when they give it a green light, I said pretty much every other country is in line to happen. That's just how the Middle East operates. Now, being Ripple and how much of a green light they have in the Middle East, how much of a pull they have in the Middle East. Also, Ripple, one day before the announcement of Ripple came for the case coming to an end and they have to pay $125 million fine, one day before that was Ripple getting a green light from the UAE. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is coordinated. Now, and again, they could have chosen Coinbase, much more bigger platform. They could have chosen Coinbase to partner with Rakbank and bring mainstream financial services to UAE residents and file in with the Central Bank of Dubai. But they chose Bitpanda for a reason. The same way those German banks chose Bitpanda for a reason and not Coinbase or Binance, which are much more bigger platforms, or Crypto.com. But they chose Bitpanda for a reason. That reason will be shown very soon. Now, next news on that matter, Bitwise now. Bitwise expands into Europe with $1 billion purchase of ETC Group and 9 crypto ETPs. Bitwise Asset Manager acquires ETC Group, making its entry into the European markets and adding several crypto ETPs to its portfolio. ETC Group, known for its physical Bitcoin ETPs and other crypto products, will be rebranded but without significant changes to its strategies. This acquisition raises the firm's assets under management to over $4.5 billion, consolidating its position and global expansion. Bitwise Asset Manager, the renowned crypto asset management firm, has announced the acquisition of ETC Group, a London-based exchange-traded product ETP issuer. Major news: this purchase marks the firm's entry into the European markets. With this acquisition, the company adds a range of crypto ETPs to its portfolio, consolidating its presence on the continent and expanding its products offerings. Founded in 2019, the ETC Group, based in London, is distinguished itself by offering some of the largest and most traded, essentially, ETPs in Europe, including the physical Bitcoin ETP, which is the highest volume product in the region, along with other significant such as Ethereum with staking, Solana, XRP, and MSCI Digital Asset Select 20. All these physically backed products will be rebranded under the Bitwise name in their coming months. However, it was assured that there will be no significant changes to the structure or objective of the current investment strategies. In other words, Bitwise acquiring this new London firm is not going to be changing their portfolio structure. So Bitcoin is going to stay in their portfolio and grow. Ethereum is going to stay in their portfolio and grow. Solana is going to stay in their portfolio and grow. XRP is going to stay in their portfolio and grow. All these physically backed products will be rebranded under Bitwise's name in the coming months. However, it was assured that there will be no significant changes to the structure or objective of the current investment strategies. Bitwise continues to achieve success and strengthen its position. The acquisition of ETC Group increases Bitwise's assets under management to over $4.5 billion. This purchase follows the successful launch of the Bitcoin ETFs in January of this year, which has reached $2 billion in assets under management, and the launch of the same product focused on Ethereum in July, which has gathered more than $300 million in its first week. Hunter, the CEO of Bitwise, stated that the acquisition will allow the company to better serve European investors, offer a more comprehensive global perspective, and expand its product suite with innovative ETPs. Now, ETPs are very different regarding ETFs. ETPs need to have physical assets backing them. From ETC Group, so gold and silver can be backed regarding ETPs as well, of backing crypto assets. Gold and silver can be backing crypto assets. From ETC Group, they highlighted the professionalism of the manager and expressed their enthusiasms to continue their work in Europe under the new partnerships. Founded in 2017, Bitwise has established itself as a leading entity in the crypto industry with a 6-year track record and in investment product management and education digital assets. This firm is known for its broad range of investment solutions, including crypto index funds and systematic ETFs, and has built a strong relationship with numerous financial professionals and institutions. So another major play happening essentially with XRP, which is Bitwise's exchange, which has now just acquired a massive London firm to expand its reach into the EU market spaces, and they're going to be expanding on their portfolios, but keeping the same objective, which is the chosen projects they've chosen for their ETPs, which are backed by physical assets, so gold and silver, backing, for example, XRP or Bitcoin only, the 4 assets they've chosen that they're only going to be going ahead with. So based on the Bitpanda news and now the Bitwise news, and now we're going into this news. Ripple's CEO discusses how XRP could dominate Swift. Before I tell you this news, let's go see in the comment section first. It was an interview he did regarding Ripple's CEO. Can explain reports from Blockworks. Ripple's CBDC has no direct need for XRP. Also being square on the Bitput. Just not understanding, maybe it's a way, so if the countries want to use their own, they can, but the other countries can still use XRP. Send me what you want me to look at on a direct message. On the basis of XRP is a gas token. It needs to be used. It needs to be used in terms of transaction. It's always going to play the middleman role. There are multiple documentations to prove that. But BitBoy can give his perspectives as much as he wants. I've always said this: everybody's entitled to an opinion. But opinions are not correct, and facts are facts. As long as you stick to the PDF documentations, contracts, and policies and regulations, you'll be on the safer side of cryptocurrencies or any financial market space. But if you listen to too many perspectives on the matter, everybody is entitled to a perspective on the matter, or any matter. And that's why I always say, Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but opinions are not correct, and facts are facts. Stick to the contracts, stick to the PDF documentations, and stick to essentially the policies and regulations in place, or the ones that are coming aboard. Miles, you're the man. Let's go, Taft. So G, don't confuse yourself with too many perspectives. Thompson, let's go. Maybe no big deal, definitely no big deal. Just another opinion on that Bitboy person. Now, this Ripple's CEO discusses how XRP could dominate SWIFT. Ripple's CEO Brad highlighted the potentials of XRP Ledger to revolutionize the global banking and payment systems by offering a faster, more efficient, and cost-effective alternative to SWIFT. Brad emphasized that Ripple's decentralized technology could significantly reduce SWIFT's current 6% error rate in cross-border payments. During a recent interview, Ripple's CEO Brad talked about the potentials of the XRP Ledger to revolutionize the global banking and payment systems currently dominated by America's SWIFT. He believes that XRP can emerge as a formidable alternative to traditional systems. Brad stated that with the XRP Ledger, Ripple provides liquidity and other messaging solutions, which is what SWIFT is, a messaging system. Its robust and new architecture can replace SWIFT's older architecture and the liquidity provided by other global banks such as Citibank. Ripple's CEO stated that XRP Ledger's core innovation lies in combining liquidity with messaging in a single solution. On the other hand, SWIFT has limitations, being a messaging-only protocol that connects financial institutions worldwide. Ever since its inception 5 decades ago, SWIFT's architecture has seen limited changes, noted Brad. Thus, SWIFT has eventually become slow and prone to errors in this fast-paced digital world. Ripple's technology aims to overcome these limitations using modern innovations to enable quicker, more efficient, and affordable cross-border payments to be happening. Ripple leverages decentralized technology to facilitate real-time settlements, reducing the time for cross-border payments from days to mere seconds at a fraction of the cost. The BRICS nations bloc is already looking for a SWIFT alternative, thus Ripple's XRP Ledger can find a sweet spot. Ripple's XRP Ledger versus SWIFT. Brad stressed the slow progress times and error rates associated with SWIFT. Currently, the SWIFT protocol has an error rate of 6%, which occurs due to mismatched information such as account details. This can delay the transactions with a greater probability of getting them reversed. The fact is that SWIFT is a one-way messaging platform, thus any mistakes and inaccuracies requires a manual correction process, thereby adding to the delays. Brad said that Ripple's decentralized technology can significantly reduce this risk error rate while offering a real-time feedback on entering transaction details. The Ripple CEO believes that this real-time feedback can actually reduce the errors regarding the rate of 0.1% reported. We see instead of a 6% error rate as reported by SWIFT. You 10 bips of an error is what Brad said in the interview. Against SWIFT's messaging inefficiencies, Ripple's solution introduces a liquidity mechanism that several traditional financial institutions like Citi rely on banks to provide. By incorporating liquidity into transactions via XRP, Ripple enables financial institutions to unlock capital that would typically be tied up in pre-funded accounts across various markets. This initiative approach has the potential to disrupt the global banking systems significantly. A market analyst also believes that if XRP contributes to 10% of SWIFT's payments, it could surge to $10 per the report. That perspective was from essentially the majority of it was an article of Brad's interview. The ending part was an analyst giving his perspectives of if it takes 10% of SWIFT's market share, we're looking at $10 per XRP. But the majority of it was Brad doing an interview talking about the sluggishness of SWIFT and that SWIFT is a one-way payment system, a one-way messaging service, which is its downfall. But I've always said the biggest downfall for SWIFT is all of that. Yes, it's slow, it's a one-way system. All of that is completely true, factual, 100%. But the biggest downfall of SWIFT is it's a political tool, not a payment tool, because SWIFT goes around and sanctions countries and a decentralized platform cannot sanction you. That's why a decentralized platform is basically seen as a much more desirable payment solution for a worldwide use, because nobody will be sanctioned on a decentralized platform. Whereas SWIFT goes around and sanctions countries on whatever the US says, for example. So therefore, that is the biggest downfall of SWIFT. It's not a payment tool, it's a political tool. That's the biggest downfall of SWIFT. It goes around and sanctions countries. So it doesn't matter if SWIFT partners, when everybody said, oh, SWIFT partners with Chainlink, this is massive news. This is SWIFT surviving, basically. SWIFT is going to stick around. It's partnered with Chainlink. Chainlink, amazing project. I hold Chainlink, a great project, amazing project. But nobody's going to be able to save SWIFT. It's a political tool, and that is the reason why a lot of countries are moving away from SWIFT, because they are scared that one day they will be dropped and sanctioned by SWIFT as well. But a decentralized payment system cannot sanction a country. That is the most essentially biggest downfall of SWIFT. Nobody can save SWIFT. It's a political tool. And all of these countries are realizing that, well, we can just use decentralized finance and get around that. That's the biggest downfall to SWIFT. Not that it's slow, not that it's expensive. Yes, all of those are true, but it's a political tool, not a payment tool. Great point. SWIFT is political. Let's go, Brooke. How you doing? How you been? Maybe, let's see where we are. Miles in a man. Let's go, Taft. It's disappointing that these influencers are reporting this false narrative. Miles, yeah, regarding Bitpool, yeah. I know at least one from the CMF who has listened to one of these, and he's now sold his XRP because this guy kept telling him that it was an S-coin and people should be buying Ripple shares, not XRP. So frustrating. Everybody's entitled to opinion, but just always, if you want to be on the right side of any financial market space, stick to vital information. Vital information being PDF documentations and contracts, policies, and regulations. That's all that matters. Everybody around you is entitled to give an opinion, but opinions are not correct and facts are facts. So as long as you stick to the facts, and one major fact in play that I've mentioned multiple times is, centralized the Bank of International Settlements, 98% of the world in centralized banks are in CBDCs. They're either in testing stage, research stage, or implementation stage on testings. And some countries have released their CBDCs. They're in small groups, but they're expanding slowly. But 98% of the world of centralized banks are in CBDC stages. 24,000 crypto projects, and one crypto project has an active CBDC platform with multiple CBDC awards, alongside the Bank of International Settlements, does speeches at the World Economic Forum and the International Monetary Fund. There's so many things that people are just looking over, and they go, oh, I want price action, I want price action. Or there's the other matter of, if you want price action, go to a meme coin. It does price action in a split second. If you want price action, there are plenty of meme coins you can go to. They do price action all day long. Go to them. But what you will understand is, essentially, money's not made overnight. It's made over time. And the faster you realize that, the better you're off. Honestly. But there are a lot of people being distracted by influencers that don't have a background in finance, don't have a background in any sort of corporate sector, don't have a background in law, but there's a lot of people listening to these people and they're being misguided. Just stick to the information, okay? Stick to common sense, stick to the PDFs, stick to the contracts, and follow the money correctly. Don't follow opinions, okay? Because if you start following opinions, you're going to end up somewhere you shouldn't end up. But if you start following the money, start following the contracts, start following the policies, the regulations, then you're going to lead somewhere. Then you're going to lead somewhere that you should be leading to. No, don't follow opinions. Because if you follow opinions, you're going to sell your assets. And I'm not going to name who it was that sold his assets, but somebody was listening to a particular crypto influencer and sold their assets, sold their XRP, because this particular influencer said, XRP is a bad project, and they sold their assets. Now, stick to the factual information. The race. XRP hasn't sold it, but telling everybody else to sell it, buy Ripple, makes me so mad. Honestly. Buying Ripple shares is not a bad idea either, but don't sell XRP to buy Ripple. Not financial advice, but don't do that. If you want to go for Ripple shares, go for Ripple shares as well, but don't sell one to go for the other one. Let's get sick of sounding like a broken record. Let's go, Shelly. Preach Miles. Let's go, Brooke. And here is the next news on the matter of CBDCs. Something that I said a very, very long time ago has just now been repeated by the German government. I said in 2023 and in 2024, same thing I repeated, that COVID-19 was happening to shift people towards digital currencies. COVID-19 was set up so people move away from cash and go to digital payments, is what I said. And I backed it up essentially with, recently as well, with the World Bank. The World Bank was doing blockchain testings exactly at the same time we were going through COVID. The World Bank was doing testings on blockchain technology, the World Bank. On blockchain technology, they were doing testings, and it was successful. At the exact same time COVID happened, there are no coincidence that the World Bank does blockchain testings and is successful testings, and then we have COVID. Because I said the data shows that people moved away from cash during COVID times and went to Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Play, which ironically, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Play are now going into CBDC payments. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay are actually ironically now going into CBDC payments, starting with India's centralized banks. Put that to one side now. But I said that essentially COVID-19 happened because they wanted people to move from cash to Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Play. And also what also happened during COVID was everybody moved to blockchain technology. The governments wanted you to get used to blockchain technology during COVID times. That's why we had a surge in cryptocurrencies during COVID times. And they wanted you to move away from cash because it carried germs. They want you to move away from cash. They want you to go to Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, and go towards blockchain technology. So you could get used to, essentially, you could get used to using cryptocurrencies, doing essentially blockchain to blockchain transactions, wallet to wallet transactions. They were trying to get people used to the whole idea of blockchain technology. And also, fast forward a little bit, they said, don't go to crypto. Crypto is bad. Governments were telling you crypto is bad. Don't go towards crypto, because they want you to go towards crypto even more. If the government tells you go towards crypto, you're going to say no. But if they tell you don't go to crypto, you're going to say yes. It's just a basic reversal psychology which works perfectly for them. And that's why I say it's so crucial and critical for you to choose the right projects, because we're going into regulations this year, heavy regulations, with all the banks and institutions coming into play. It's so crucial for you to choose the right crypto projects going into regulations with all the banks and institutions, the centralized banks in play. It's so critical for you to choose the correct projects, because if you choose the wrong projects, and we are in full regulations with banks, centralized banks, and major institutions in play, and you're holding the wrong projects, all of this crypto research you went through, joining crypto projects and airdrops, was absolutely for nothing. So the COVID-19 situation, exact same time with the World Bank doing testing on blockchain, successful, COVID-19 happens. Everybody moves away from cash into essentially crypto, into Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Play. Data is there to show it. A lot more people stopped using cash because it carries germs. And then people went to cryptocurrencies. And then you fast forward a little bit more, and then we have the Russian war that splits up the upper class, middle class, and lower class, and splits it up even more. And then this last war that we're having is just one big massive distraction. In between, governments are telling you to stay away from crypto, which makes people run towards crypto even more, because governments want you to understand how to use cryptocurrencies, because it's all one big show, because we're going into a blockchain world, and they want you to get used to using cryptocurrencies and being able to do payments. And this is why it's so crucial in this one big massive game to choose your cards correctly. Now, the race for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs in other words, coronavirus was the catalyst to digital cash. Among the COVID, this is the news that came out now, and I said all of this before this article, or before the German government came out and said anything. I said all of this before all these before this article just came out today. I said this in 2023. The race for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, coronavirus, the catalyst for digital cash. Among the COVID-19 epidemic, cash is seemingly becoming less utilized since the COVID-19 situation. While most social locations are closed as lockdowns and laws are enforced across the globe, the general public are also refraining from using cash due to potential spread of bacteria during COVID-19. Meanwhile, China is running ahead in the containment of virus outbreaks and well in front for launching a nationwide blockchain infrastructure. When China was during COVID-19, this is the information that's coming out now of how things were planned is coming up now. When China was having this major outbreak during COVID-19, it was the perfect setup for them to launch their CBDC, because cash carries bacteria, and this is why the Chinese CBDC is the better solution. Meanwhile, during that time, China is ahead in the containment of the virus outbreak and in a well front for launching a nationwide blockchain infrastructure called Digital Yuan, issued by the People's Bank of China, a central bank. The Bank of International Settlements, the BIS, a 600-member international financial institution representing the central banks of 60 countries, recently promoted central banks to create simultaneous for CBDCs, as coronavirus still can spread through payment means aside from cash, the greater threat being card terminals. During COVID, when everybody was busy, when everybody was distracted, when nobody could see their family members during COVID, and everybody's going, what the hell is going on? People were on social media messing about and so on. What was actually happening behind the scenes was the Bank of International Settlements during COVID told 60 centralized banks of countries to get involved in building a CBDC, because not only cash carries COVID-19 germs, but also, this is all planned, but not also cash carries germs, but cash points, ATM machines carry germs. Therefore, even bank cards are not a great solution either. And we should get rid of bank cards and cash in total together. In recent months, many other countries' central banks have been exploring digital currencies. In the current crisis, these were already existing cashless cultures will find it even easier for their public to adapt. Sweden is almost fully cashless society and has recently announced plans for their e-corona. Now, e-corona, while in South Korea, another digitally advanced country, the central bank recently launched a pilot program for testing the digital won. A lot of CBDC are happening around the world right now. Western countries that utilize cash more frequently, such as the UK and Germany, have seen significant drops in cash and cash points usage, correlating an increase in mobile, card, and digital payments. The Bank of England recently published a 57-page report highlighting the pros and cons of introducing a digital pound, acknowledging that digital currency could disrupt and destabilize current financial systems in negative ways. However, evolving fintech can also positively affect financial systems by making payments easier, faster, cheaper, and more secure. Deutsche Bank was the one that revealed this information. Deutsche Bank also recently tweeted this. This is what Deutsche Bank tweeted now in 2024, after the whole COVID-19 setup to make everybody go into digital payments. This is what they tweeted. The COVID-19 pandemic is accelerating the rise of central bank digital currencies, #digital currencies. As many governments see the handling of cash as potential risk factor, this will likely add to calls to move towards #digital cash, hinting positive signs towards development of their own digital money. Deutsche Bank basically telling everybody that COVID-19 was the accelerator for CBDCs, because it was. France, another nation, racing in the front line for CBDCs. COVID-19 in general, COVID-19 only happened so we can go to this whole digital world. The start of the digital world, of a CBDC world, was not this year with some countries coming up with CBDCs. No. The start of a digital world was actually the beginning of COVID-19, was the start of the digital world. Of a CBDC world, the start was the beginning of COVID-19. France, another nation racing in the front line for CBDCs, is assembling frameworks and testing for digital euro, primarily for the interbank settlements and potential tokenizations for settlement and clearing of financial instruments. The central bank released a call for applicants package citing a search for counterparts of innovative nature to essentially co-work on testing for digital euro. France is also spearheading their CBDCs. The US was recently also in the CBDC spotlight with mentions of digital dollar in the draft of COVID-19 bills, which has since been removed because of who's going to become the next president. Either way, CBDCs are still happening inside the US. Although two notable, but do you know what's interesting? The CBDC bill was also with the COVID-19 bill. The CBDC bill at that moment in time was also with the COVID-19 bill. They were packaged together. The beginning of a CBDC world was the beginning of COVID. Although two notable advocates of a digital USD, both ex-workers of the CFMCT, Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, launched the non-profit Digital Dollar Foundation at the start of 2020. At the start of 2020, COVID times, at the start of 2020, the CFTC, the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, launched the non-profit Digital Dollar Foundation at the start of 2020, which in recent weeks added 22 new advisors, including staff from Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs advisors are with the Digital Dollar Foundation that was built by the CFTC, including Goldman Sachs, PayPal, and former Federal Reserve board members. The CFTC, the Federal Reserve board members, Goldman Sachs, and PayPal came together to create the digital dollar, to fund the research and progress of the digital dollar. During when? COVID. It seems that countries around the world are considering the feasibilities of a central bank issued digital money, and we may see governments moving faster than expected due to COVID outbreak. Cambodia, Canada, Japan, Russia, Turkey, and Ukraine are just among some other countries that are planning, developing, or testing central bank digital currencies. Do you know how crucial it is if you don't choose the right projects? I'm telling you right now, we are moving quicker than you think. And if you don't choose the correct projects in a world with CBDCs, in a world with regulations and banks and institutions in play, in a world where centralized banks are in play because of the regulations, and where institutions are in play, governments are in play, public and private banks are in play. And if you are not holding the correct project in that world, after all this time being inside the crypto space because you wanted to chase people's opinions, or because you wanted to chase some, essentially Pepe's granddad, or wanted to chase that $1 million idea to be happening, because a lot of people chase random crypto projects because they think there's lottery numbers. Some people buy six, essentially they invest into 6 meme coins, hoping, one of it works out. You're not picking lottery numbers if you choose 6 meme coins. So I'm telling you right now, if you spent your entire time inside the crypto space and we go into a CBDC world and you were an original member inside the crypto space and we go into a CBDC world and you spent your time chasing people's opinions and you spent your time essentially chasing $1 million dreams of going after meme coins and so on, and we go into a world which we're not that far off right now, extremely not far off. This 2024 is when the world starts shifting into a digital era with the regulations. We have more regulations in 2024 than ever before, more banks and more institutions in play than ever before in 2024. So, and all of this started with the beginning of COVID. So if you spent your times inside the crypto space on chasing $1 million dreams, of chasing meme coins, of people's perspectives, and you didn't choose the correct projects, which one of them should be XRP. I don't care if people laugh at me for me saying XRP or Ripple. I couldn't care less. Do you know why? Because other people's opinion to me means squat. I come from the corporate sector. I couldn't care less about other people's opinions. All I care about is what's on paper, is all that matters. I don't care about price action. I don't care if it takes a year. I don't care if it's whatever. For me, it's all about what's on paper, PDF documentations. So if you spend your time inside the crypto space, while we're going to regulations, full speed to the regulations, banks, institutions, the CBDC world, and you kept on just chasing people's opinions and didn't bother to essentially follow the PDF documentations or the contracts, or actually follow the money, then what the hell were you doing all this time inside the crypto space? Because Bank of International Settlements set up the whole game. The World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, I mean, the whole thing was a setup. COVID was a complete setup for a CBDC world to start. The starting line of the CBDC world was COVID. All of this, COVID, Russian war, this war that's going on, everything is a distraction. Some of them were distractions, some of them were set up to make you change into other payment systems. All of this around you is set up for a CBDC world. And what crypto project do you think is going to thrive the most in a CBDC world? Do you think it's going to be Pepe's granddad that's going to thrive the most in a CBDC world? Do you think it's going to be Solana? Do you think it's going to be Bitcoin? Do you think it's going to be Ethereum? Or do you think it's going to be the crypto project that has an active CBDC platform with multiple CBDC awards, done multiple speeches at the World Economic Forum, the most powerful people around it, is on a PDF document with the Bank of International Settlements, the same Bank of International Settlements that told countries during COVID times to get involved in CBDCs, progressing to now, look at how many countries on CBDCs. 98% of centralized banks on CBDCs. So if you, once again, honestly, if you spent your time inside the crypto space, all this time you had inside the crypto space, chasing Pepe's granddad or so on and so on, wasting your absolute time. And we go into a CBDC world and you're holding random crypto projects because some random crypto influencer told you XRP has no future, as if they are a member of the Bank of International Settlements or have ever worked a single day in the essentially corporate sector or have a background in a law, to be reading you law documents and going, no, this is my perspective. What perspective? You don't have a perspective because you're not a lawyer. So if you chased, honestly, if you wasted your time inside the crypto space going into a CBDC world, and there are 24,000 crypto projects, and only one crypto project has an active CBDC platform, 24,000 crypto projects, one has an active CBDC platform. On the Bank of International Settlements document as well, titled Cross-Border Payments, is listed there, Ripple. Those multiple speeches at the World Economic Forum is alongside the International Monetary Fund. I mean, there's no words to describe of how much of an absolute moron you are in a CBDC world to be holding random crypto projects when fully knowing there are 24,000 crypto projects and one has an active CBDC platform. You have to be an utter moron, because you spent and wasted your entire time inside the crypto space doing what? Chasing other people's perspectives. Because some random influencer, read the law documents and said, yes, based on my perspective, Ripple's case's outcome is bad. It's bad for their credit score to be paying $125 million. How the fuck do you know? Because you don't have a law degree. Honestly, when I hear people like this, everybody thinks just because they can read a PDF document, all of a sudden they have a law degree from Harvard. They haven't worked a single day inside the corporate sector, but they'll give you a corporate perspective. I don't mind it when people ask questions because it shows to me you want to learn and expand. That's perfectly fine. But for you to be arrogant enough with having zero background in law, zero background in the corporate sector, and for you to be arrogant enough and come out and start tweeting about things that you don't have a single clue in, and going, Ripple paying $125 million is bad for their credit score. Ripple paying, this Ripple lost the case. How the? Honestly, people think just because they can read one law document, all of a sudden they have a Harvard law degree. Everyone thinks they're Harvey Specter when they read a PDF document. Now, on the matter of ECB to hold a workshop on the topic of CBDCs, the European Central Bank, the ECB to hold a workshop on B2B payment innovations, including stablecoins and tokenized deposits. The European Central Bank announced an invitation to a workshop on the future of business-to-business payments. The European Central Bank, who was also a part of this scheme of coming to a CBDC world, is introducing a workshop. Its work on developing the digital euro central bank digital currency, CBDC, has prioritized personal and government payments. The ECB separates initiatives exploring DLT and wholesale central bank settlements, target essentially institutions. Hence, the business sector is the odd one out, and it wants to see if corporates have specific needs for central bank money. The European Central Bank has essentially is doing a workshop for who? Institutions, for major essentially businesses to come into play, because the EU is going to be releasing in small portions their CBDC starting next year. So now they're getting all the businesses coming in and doing the workshop. It's going to happen next month. Next month, the EU is going to have major businesses from the EU coming together. This is a central bank meeting that they're doing. They're going to bring all the businesses in and start dishing out on, using digital payments in a digital world, getting all their opinions in the matters and how you're going to use it and scale it and so on. Because, as I've said previously, the next clientele entering the crypto space are institutional investors. And I said this before, once again, the European Central Bank coming out and announcing this workshop that's happening next month so the institutions can come into play. I've been saying this for a very long time, that this year is all about the next clientele, which is institutional clientele. While the digital euro, and they're doing this for them because they are the next clientele, the institutions. While the digital euro may not initially cover B2B payments, the CBDC work may have influenced the timings of this workshop. A question posed to workshop invitees is about holding limits on digital euro. This fits with the digital euro's timeline, which essentially that the ECB would start engaging the market to collaborate regarding the holding limits last quarter. Another potential trigger of the workshop is Germany's commercial bank money token. Germany's commercial bank money token, CBMT project, which recently completed a proof of concept and is looking to move forward. A wholesale CBDC would help with interbank settlements. The ECB mentions it's interested in exploring the potential corporate usage of CBMT and stablecoins. Most of all, the ECB wants to find out about the potential use cases, mentioning essentially some of its industries, 4.0 programmable payment applications targeted to CBMT, programmable CBDCs, such as smart factories, IoT, and advanced manufacturing. For example, CMBT is exploring pay-per-use machinery. The ECB is keen to find out why existing commercial bank money can't address corporate needs for digital payments. Plus, it wants to know whether there's a need for access to central bank money for these private institutions and banks. Commercial banks are also going to be attending this meeting. Representatives from corporates, banks, or payment providers should apply to take part in the workshop by 13th of September. By 13th of September. In September, basically next month, corporates, banks, so any sort of major major business and banks and payment providers are coming together on a major meeting that's happening in the EU, organized by the central bank. We're moving into a whole nother stage right now. The next clientele being institutional clientele, we're not that far off. When next month it's the commercial banks, private banks, major institutions in play inside the corporate sector, and payment providers, so online payment providers, they're all attending a central bank by the EU meeting. And the EU is coming off the CBDC next year as well. This world is unfolding into a CBDC world. And if you get left behind after all this time inside the crypto space, it's pathetic. Honestly, after being inside the crypto space for all this time and you haven't realized why we're going digital, why everything was set up to go towards cryptocurrencies, why blockchain was set up to go towards cryptocurrencies? If you haven't realized by now that this entire blockchain thing was a setup to go into CBDCs, to get people used to blockchain technology, and you're not holding the only token behind an entire financial system to go CBDCs, then what the hell were you doing inside the crypto space all this long? All this time, what were you doing inside the crypto space? If you're not holding XRP when we go into a CBDC world. But once again, I told you, if you want price action, go to a meme coin. Meme coins do price action every 5 seconds. But if you want to build a future for yourself, going into a digital world that was set up, the government's CBDCs was set up. This whole digital blockchain and so on, it's all set up. Nothing happens in this world by accident, especially on a large scale. If you haven't realized that by 2024, in the month of, honestly, in the month of August, on the 20th of August in 2024, if you still haven't realized that this entire world is pretty much a setup and nothing happens by accident and everything's coordinated, then you realize that blockchain was coordinated to happen. As much as people want to think it's the people, it's the people, it's the people, it's got nothing to do with the people. This entire CBDC world that we're going into, this entire everybody going into blockchain, all this, it's all set up for an end goal. End goal, CBDCs. Alongside, essentially, real assets and real world assets and tokenization and so on. But did you also know that you can do tokenizations on CBDCs, which is what's being tested out in Switzerland? Swiss banks are doing tokenization of assets on CBDCs. This entire world, everything that we're going into, blockchain technology, it's all set up. And the starting line was COVID. Starting line was COVID for everybody to go towards digital assets. And then in the middle, government's telling you blockchain is bad, crypto is bad. So people go, no, I'm running towards crypto because the government tells me it's bad. It's all set up. They did a little bit of reverse psychology to make you run towards blockchain technology, but they did tell you also where to run towards. But some people got lost midway in the track. And some people ran towards Pepe's granddad, while others with intelligence ran towards XRP, knowing that this entire plan of a cryptocurrency world, of a CBDC world, is basically a CBDC world. That 98% of the centralized banks are in CBDCs. This entire thing was a setup. Crypto was a setup, blockchain was a setup, the end goal was a CBDC. They made you go towards a blockchain world. And they did technically tell you where to look, but some people decide to ignore it. And you know that old saying, when it's too obvious, some people just miss the ball. Now, we have also reached the endings of tonight's live show. If you enjoyed tonight's live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. This was the CMF live show, stands for Crypto Mouse Family. This was episode 132. I know on X it says it's episode 127, but it's because the Restream platform that I'm using to do this live on X and on YouTube at the exact same time, it shows it as episode 127 because they have a bug in the system. It's actually up episode 132 because if you go on YouTube, if you watch this live right now, it says episode 132, which is the correct one. So episode 133 will be tomorrow. Every night you can tune into this live show. No matter where you're around the world, every single day you can tune into this live show. It's called the CMF live show. I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, in terms of CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, things for you to know, vital information for you to know regarding this world is changing. And it's all free. I've been doing this live show for over a year and a half every single night. And it's free. You can tune into it. And get involved in the comment section as well. It's a live show, so it means you can get involved in the comment section. And we also have our own Telegram group as well, which anybody's more than welcome to join. And again, it's free. Everybody's very respectful inside a Telegram group as well. And the link for Telegram is on X. If you're watching us on X, just click on the link on my profile. There's a link on my profile. Click on it and then click on Telegram. It's called Crypto Mouse Family, which is what CMF stands for. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's on YouTube as well, the link. So if you enjoy this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. And on tonight's live show, we went through ECB news regarding European Central Bank news in terms of CBDCs. We talked about the race for central bank digital currencies, a perspective from Germany's Deutsche Bank, which ironically is also what I said in 2023, but they repeated me in 2024 and this month. We also talked about Ripple's CEO disclosing essentially how they're going to be dominating SWIFT. We also talked with XRP. We also talked about Bitwise Exchange expanding into Europe with their XRP ETP. We also talked about Bitpanda, ironically partnering with Bank in the UAE to be developing the next financial mainstream payment service in the UAE with Bitpanda, ironically a Ripple partner. We also talked about, on tonight's live show, regarding Solana ETF matter from Vanex's perspective. We also talked about on tonight's live show regarding US institutions redefining money was another topic we talked about on tonight's live show. Another topic we also went through on tonight's live show was regarding crypto voters. And we also talked about on tonight's live show regarding tokenized real world assets. We also went through the topic of, on tonight's live show, regarding Hashkey Group going on to Telegram, which is massive for Ton's ecosystem, because Hashkey is essentially one of the most prominent digital asset financial services companies in the whole of Asia, and they've just joined Telegram for Ton's ecosystem. We also talked about tonight's live show regarding Moody's, which is the same credit and rating exchange, the same credit reporting agency that was reporting on 2008 matters that crashed because they lied, but now they've joined the crypto space to open up the playing fields so the Wall Street heads could come in. The Wall Street heads don't like listening to chain analysis to give them a perspective of how safe the market space is, but the Wall Street heads will listen to Moody's because that's one of them. And Moody's just entered the crypto space, giving ratings out. We also talked about Kamala Harris on tonight's live show as well, how useless she is, as usual. We also talked about on tonight's live show regarding one of the oldest Italian banks entering the crypto space. We also talked about tonight's live show regarding Bitcoin perspective from Grayscale analyst. And no matter what happens, the end result, it's still going to do well, is their perspective regarding who is ever chosen for the next president. So those are the news topics we went through on tonight's live show, and we did Q&As in between as well, where people ask the questions, I give the answers. Now, before we go, let's inside the comment section first. Where will there be a short move after Ripple paid the fine? And there'll be a short move, yeah. I didn't listen to anybody. I saw my things. Why the hell would anybody sell their XRP? Facts. They should give all their you should give me all their XRP for free. Let's go, Thompson. Miles, I think actually love you, huh? Long. Not quite as much as my XRP, but close. Let's go, Shelly. Thompson, let's go. Facts, let's go. Bilal, the truth. Let's go, Dale, so true. Let's go, Thompson. Sorry to get you fired up, brother. Oops, but it's the truth. It is. Shelly, it is. Facts. It's like it's like when you get heated up. There, I like it when you get heated up. Let's go, Mike. Love and Miles. Let's go, Feeling Favor. At the same time, I've never heard you sweat. Woo. Let's go, Stormy. Either way, great perspective. Let's go, Thompson. Love the energy, brother Miles. The F-word is necessary sometimes for arrogant individuals. All facts. The Crypto Miles crystal ball hasn't failed yet. If you haven't realized, now in 2024. Let's go. Let's go, Dale. Let's go, Ray. Thank goodness we had you to guide and direct us through all the BS and smoke and mirrors. Let's go, Stormy. Thanks so much for the kind words, everyone. Great live show, brother. Bill, let's go. Thank you so much. Thanks, Miles. Scott, let's go. Do you still think we will 5 to 10, 2024 XRP? It depends on the green lights. Thanks, Miles, for these updates. It's much appreciated. It could be higher, it could be lower, it could be on the same level. Thanks much. Thanks, Miles, for these updates. It's much appreciated. It is time to turn off my CMF TV now. Thanks, my friend. I look for Ton token. Let's go, TMC. Good night, Miles, and as normal, another fantastic live. Let's go, Addy. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual. Thank you, Miles, for 100%. The single person who literally changed my life. Much appreciated. Let's go, Shelly. Thanks so much for the kind words. Good night, Miles and CMF. Absolutely great news, Miles. Thanks. Let's go, Free Forever. Night, Miles. Pablo, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Thank you, Miles and CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual as well. No problem. Good night, everyone. Thanks, Miles. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Take care, Miles and family. Love, all love, peeps. Let's go, Ray. Ray, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well, brother. Orphan, good night, Miles. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thank you, brother. Dale, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Night and day to all our families. Sherry, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. To which price will the short move go for XRP when they paid the fine? 1, 2. Good night, Miles and family. Ghost brother, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks again for another brilliant live stream today. Absolutely, I greatly appreciate it. Let's go, Thompson. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Thanks again, Miles. Ghost brother, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Stormy, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Below reasoning on why. And when they pay the price, it will show confidence that things are about to get moving on. That's why. So, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching this on X, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe on YouTube. If you're not following me on X, follow me on X. What's stopping you? Knowing vital information, don't do that to yourself. So, follow me. I'll see everybody tomorrow. By the way, thanks so much to everyone that tunes in every single night. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. To which price will it go, you think, brother? 1 or 2. Get some rest. Let's go, Shelly. I will see. You think? Possible. It will show confident towards that matter. Once they pay the fine, it will show confident, but that 60-day period is still there. So that 60-day period is to skim off as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.